we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. We'll go ahead and call to order the special board meeting of the Vallecitos Water District Board of Directors for December 16th, 2015. And can we get there's no flag salute, but I do, real quick before we do the roll call, I do want to wish Director Hernandez happy 30th birthday.
30th. The second one?
Yeah, I'm free.
The second 30th birthday?
My 39th anniversary of
I'm
the.
fuzzy on the details.
Yeah, appreciate that.
The math
President.
doesn't
Okay, and now we can do the roll call, please.
Here.
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 Here. Hey, moving on to oral communication. I don't see anybody out there, so we'll move past that and we'll just turn it over to Chris.
And if I might, real quick, just to brief the board, Ed did brief you last week on the sewer spill.
Yes.
We did get notification, say, from the health department to pull the few posting signs that we did have out there. And beyond that, there's no mitigation, no cleanup, or no follow-up required by the district. So from that standpoint, the spill is done, cleaned up, and taken care of. Internally, we're still looking into the design and the construction tie-in point to see what or why or how it happened. So hopefully I'll be able to report back to you on that pretty soon as well.
Okay.
Okay, well, so pleased to be here. I know we typically don't, I guess, have a second board meeting in the month of December, that maybe we have recess, so I really appreciate you coming here and being part of this board meeting, because this is something I wanted to get done before the end of the calendar year. So back in October of 2014, that's when the board selected Katz and Associates to develop an outreach communication program, do surveys of our customers. To date, Katz has completed that customer survey. They completed a strategic message plan, collateral materials audit, key message platform, communications plan, style guide, PowerPoint template, master presentation, PowerPoint modules that can be inserted to the PowerPoint depending on the audience, comment card, after making a speakers bureau, frequently asked questions, kind of outdoor water use, fact sheet, a quick facts pocket card, and then speakers bureau guide and speakers bureau posters that can be used if the entity doesn't have the capability to use a computer and PowerPoint and a projector and all that. And then most recently, the draft video. And General Manager Lamb, I think last month, had provided some jackets, and in those jackets was the little thumb drive with a lot of these files on it. And as an update, there's an updated version of that video that you got. Staff had some edits where we wanted to change out. It was talking about the master plan, and I think the image was of the strategic plan, so it's been updated. So if I can indulge, Ann's got the video available, and we can have a look at it. You might recognize the voice.
Water, gift of life. We couldn't survive without it. Have you ever wondered how it gets to your house and so conveniently flows from your tap? Well, here's a look into how exactly that happens. Let's start at the source. Our water Thank you for being a part of our team.
So you probably noticed that that was Tina Malott talking on the voiceover on the video. And with me today is Joe Charay, who's here to provide any questions on any of the items. As we get started, any comments on the draft video? You might have noticed the one little change in there from the previous one you got on your thumb drive. Any comments?
Director Hernandez?
Yeah, the one video relative to the recycled water, we've got the same photograph of the sewage going into the water tank that we show on the water facility. I think it's somewhere else as well. And again, I think I heard you say this is the finished product?
No, this is
Okay,
draft.
well, good,
Yeah,
thank you
yeah.
for clarifying that, because there's a number of things that I think we need to clear up, and I think that shows up somewhere else as well.
I think I know what you're talking about, and it
Yeah.
can be, it might imply that the water's going from the recycled facility back to the,
It starts right at the house and it goes right into the water tank.
gotcha.
Yeah, and I don't think
Yeah,
that,
it's a picture of the roughing filter.
yeah, exactly, so we've got to change, make sure, because maybe somebody else out there knows what the heck's going on
Mhm.
too. And then I thought the plant was upgraded to 5 million, Dennis.
It is, but we're only selling 3.5, that's what our contract's for.
Oh, we're only selling 3.5?
Yeah, that's what our
Oh, okay.
contracts, we have
And
contractually
is
set.
that 74, is that percentage rate, 74%?
Yeah, we're down around 5.6 or 5, right at 6, so it's getting up there to that summary. 5 would be, of our old flow, when we used to tell you 70% our flow is at higher, 6%, 6 MGD, but we'll verify the percentage at 3.5 to make sure. But
Yeah,
that's
but
how
I-
much we can treat, is 70%.
Well, what the video says is we're
Three.
treating 100%
Yeah,
of our
we'll verify
sewage at 3.5, at 74%.
Right.
So, again, this happens a couple of other times in the other documentation, but those two I just caught in this one here.
Okay.
Can I tag on to that? Can I tag on that real quick? What's our wastewater production per day, average?
What are we at right now, James? 6? 6.5,
6.5,
maybe.
75% of that,
Again, as I say, we can treat 5 MGD.
but we don't.
But we don't, we only have contracts to sell 3.5, because we're doing those upgrades right now to get the rest of it down there so we can sell more. And
How
that would
much
be
do
the
we
full amount.
send to Encina every day? That would be more important, because that's what we pay for.
Probably 2.5.
2.5 to Encina on average? That's all we send to them? What's our capacity at Encina?
11.5.
Oh, wow. We're not even close to capacity.
I'm sorry, I did have another one. The other thing is,
Well, excuse me, 11.5 is Metal Arc plus Encina. That's the two combined. That's our total treatment capacity.
All right, what's our capacity at?
7.5. 7.54 and 5, so it'd be 12.54.
But at Encina,
7.5.
7.5, of which we're using 2.5 today.
Give or take, yes.
So we're using a third of what our capabilities are.
Well, we're using a third of liquid, but we're using 6 to 7 million of solids. So we're using more than 60% of our solids capacity, but probably only a third of our treatment liquid capacity. They're two different animals.
I'm confused a bit.
Okay, because all of our solids go to Encina, we have no solids handling capacity at Metal Arc.
Oh, they scalp off the
They
water.
scalp off and send it to Encina.
Send it out to sea.
Yeah, so even though we might be sending 2.5 MGD, the strength of it is equivalent to 6 MGD. And we build based upon strength of sewage, not flow. So when you look at the monthly reports that you guys get in the Encina packet, you'll see under unit I, you'll have solids and liquid. And you'll see that we use a much higher percentage of our capacity in solids than we do in liquids.
But what's the real number? It should be up there, 40%?
Well, that's treatment, that is what it is. 74% would be if we were selling all 5 MGD.
I
don't know what you're
understand-
asking.
I understand what you're saying. I'm saying for us to be real and tell people what we're doing,
Mhm.
not what we're capable of doing.
Okay, we'll check the percentage.
I mean, I think it to be more telling people this is what we actually do.
Okay, verify the percentage.
Well, and just to keep it consistent in presentation, we're telling them on one hand that we're doing 3.4, 3.5, whatever it was, but then the percentage of it that we're proclaiming that we do is based off of the actual 5.
Right, that's why I said we'll check the
So,
percentage based on the
we gotta do it
3.5.
one way or the other,
Sure.
either present all the data versus on the 5, or
We'll do it
present it all on the 3.5.
We'll do it on the 3.5,
but-
then as flow increases, we'll change the percentage.
And then the other, I'm sorry, I had one more. Excuse me.
I was just piggybacking on you.
Oh, no, it's okay. And then the other thing is, I think we need to update the video to identify that desal is here. It's not coming. Somehow rephrase that so that it's,
Okay.
we are now being served with desal, or whatever is the phraseology that.
Sure.
Okay, that took care of those two boxes. Okay, thanks.
You bet. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll change the percentage of what it is now, then as we complete the improvements to sell more, we would have to revise that percentage to reflect the revised number.
And I
Easy
would,
enough.
I would recommend, only because it's my bad side, a new picture. I look really bad in that picture. The new picture of the board you
I
take
was
in
gonna-
January anyhow.
Yeah, wait.
Again, we can insert that as the board changes.
Wait till
No,
June.
no, we're not gonna wait, no. Because you're not
Okay.
gonna change anything by it.
I was gonna ask if it would be appropriate if we hired models for that board picture.
Can't we just Photoshop the head in?
Would you guys like to be thinner, more hair,
Yeah,
thicker,
come on.
darker,
Yeah,
gray?
all of it.
All of the above.
All of the
Yeah,
above.
exactly, okay.
I certainly want to give anybody down here an opportunity to ask questions, but I think instead of kind of going through this item by item, if your overall presentation is, say, 40, 50, 60 minutes, maybe we wait till the end, and then, we've all had this now for
Yeah.
2-3 weeks, which I think makes for a very productive meeting.
Sure.
And I think we all have some notes probably that we've taken over that time and with our questions, so
Sure enough.
that might be a more productive way to do it.
And can you put me back on? So.
Unless you
the-
guys have something urgent right now.
Kind of the way the sequences were numbered on your thumb drive was first was the style guide. And I pulled it up in case you want to have any comments on it, and Joe will help me collect any comments you have. But this was the style guide that kind of comes up with, how things will look consistently throughout the district, and looking for your feedback and comments.
Okay, you're gonna go through it? Good. Like I said, I hope you're going through it line by line, or at least page by page.
I didn't hear what you said.
So I'm asking for feedback on the style guide, if you had anything that was specific that you would, because it sounds like Jim has written some comments down, or I'm sorry, Director Hernandez has written some comments down. And so I'm looking for feedback on these specific documents, of any sort of edits and changes that we could implement that would
Can you
make
kind
them
of flip,
complete.
can you flip through it?
Sure enough.
Yeah, because as I understood, the president would like us to go through the whole presentation and then make comments at the end. Is that what I understand?
I think that would probably be the most effective way to do it. If
Yeah,
there's something
I
that,
just-
if there's something that somebody has to ask, certainly we'll get
Sure.
those questions. but-
Okay.
Good on the variations. You're looking at what's on what I'm looking at, correct?
Yep.
And we'll watch your television.
Some of the things that we're not gonna do, some of these logos that we're not gonna use, older logos. File format, the actual colors. Fonts, typography. Some of the photographs.
What do we do for releases? Do we get them? Releases from our employees and from anyone that we use at Face Out?
So we actually do have a model release form.
Yeah.
And the employees sign it, that'll be in.
Yep.
Even when we have to do the Girl Scouts or
A lot of Girl
anything,
Scouts and
everybody-
students that come in.
they all
yeah,
sign it.
Yeah. Editorial items like, district board, those types of things. Some template designs. Other template design. Comments on this document?
any changes?
The style of it, yeah. That was part of the thing, that the whole thing, part of this whole thing was we had so many different things
A lot of-
to get them into one standard.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of good stuff already, but they were different PowerPoint, different background, different font,
Yeah.
different styles. So everything now will be taken into that design
that,
guideline.
that format, so things will start to look consistently that way, and I really would, ready to call this done, and this is our style guide now. President Smith?
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I just had a kind of a comment. One was, we preferred the word choice, recycled water and not reclaimed, and I just wondered what the reasoning behind that was, and when we would use the one of reclamation, because I do believe in it, we use reclamation at a couple of points.
That's just kind of a style choice, and
Mhm.
it sort of seems to be sort of the industry standards that we refer to it as recycled water rather than reclaimed water. I even remember that in my other job, there was kind of a, the nomenclature, was, this is what we're gonna call it from this point on. And I'm fairly certain that's just kind of a standard that's used quite a bit, that reclaimed is kind of an older term from what I would say is more like the nineties almost, and recycled is what's consistently used these days.
So it's just the contemporary usage. Okay, that,
Exactly.
I didn't know if there was some
No,
other reason
there-
behind it that I wasn't aware
There
of.
is a reason, and I'm pretty sure there was actual, kind of back in the day, kind of focus group work on that type of thing.
Okay, and I have one other question.
Yes.
I know we're just looking at samples here, Chris, but I'm just curious, how many photos do we have available? I love the photos, but I kind of see the same ones over and over. I know we're just a sample, so I'm just curious what variety is available.
So I don't have an actual count, but I know there's
Oh.
multiple folders for different things such as meter reading, construction, collections, buildings, staff, and, it's a nice collection, and we tend to use a lot of them over and over again, because when we're talking about, Twin Oaks, and when we show those images, and Ed on that ladder, which is my favorite, but I don't have a count, but I can get you a count.
Well, I
if you're
don't
interested.
need a count. I just wanted reassurance that we had
We have quite
a
a few.
variety,
Yeah.
and that, just because I've seen ones, and I like the same photo of Ed up there too, but it was more like, I just wanted to know what was available and how easy was it to get different employees to, as long as there's a collection, that's
Yeah.
all.
The
It's not a criticism, it's just
Yeah, just to
curiosity.
give you a little background, probably 3 or 4 years ago, give or take, might have been a little bit longer, we used to just, all of our photos literally were taken with Polaroids and very cheap pictures. So when we would use something, and we had to put it in a graphic, it was the pixels that you saw. So it was several years back, we actually did bring a professional photographer in, and we sent them out to all the sites. The beauty of it is, you've met Cheryl, probably, we call it Minnie. She, I think, did the presentation, you guys, you've always seen her, she's always happy, happy, happy. She is a photographer on the side, so she always has her camera with her. So everywhere she goes on her projects, doing the tanks, she's always taking more pictures. So we've got a never-ending supply coming in, a very high quality.
Okay.
We can find out how many, but
I
we have
just-
quite a few.
They're very nice quality. It was simply, I just was curious what the backup was.
Well, and
That's
there
all.
may be some instances where I think we may want to add some in, like when we get the new connection to
Mhm.
the decel line. That's an appropriate thing to go get a nice professional photo of, and I'll hit up the general
And,
manager later at that point. and
a better one with the
take
board.
Well, we
Great.
need the new ones with the board because of the reorganization too.
I know,
Chris, can you
just,
back up a couple slides to
Sure
to
enough.
the font selection? I don't remember what that was off the top of my head.
It is,
Forward.
it's mostly like an aerial style.
Yep, okay, I like that.
If you remember a year ago, 2 years ago, we had the different departments coming in, doing presentations. I think, Mike, you probably didn't see most of them, but you may recall 20 different presentations from 20 groups. Now we'll have one style with 20 presentations.
oh, okay.
More comments? Okay. And pull up the pocket card. So this is, wallet size that you can carry around.
I have a question.
Yes.
For Ed, where is that tank?
Which one?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the one you were talking about, Jim.
Yeah,
That showed up
exactly.
Yeah, it's just a different angle. Because usually you
All
see
the
two
things
of
that
them.
people see are green.
What's it?
Nobody sees that.
Green things blend into the brush around them. That one's plants.
I'm saying, no one sees that.
Yeah, but I think that's more photogenic than this green round ones. Are you suggesting we check the green round ones in there? I would
Like,
dis-
I'll also be suggesting that we call it water tanks instead of water reservoir. People understand tanks.
General Manager Lamb mentioned some of the photos that Cheryl has taken. There is a really nice one, a double peak tank, and she has the sun setting in the ocean.
Everybody sees
High-quality
that.
picture.
Oh, well,
Good. Although we did get, honestly, we did get some negative feedback on Facebook about it, that, Double Peak's kind of a, it's a high point, people look out, and some people aren't so fond of that.
yeah. Yeah.
What about, just out of curiosity, why didn't we go with that really nice picture that we have of the face of our building on this?
I think it's been overused more than anything else, and trying to show both the water and the wastewater side, and this is kind of where those two things kind of meet.
We can change it if you guys want
Yeah,
us to.
under,
change it.
completely.
Yeah, doesn't matter, all we can do is clip a picture and put it in.
No offense, I'm not an engineer, that tank isn't good to me. It isn't, well, I'm not an engineer. You guys love it.
It's not referring to me
Well,
either, but.
But,
We could insert the double peak one if.
well,
that's-
perhaps we should take a look at it, but this photo versus just the green barrel sticking out of there,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to show me something looking pretty tidy to be, this at least, I think, looks nice.
But this has, this is really weird. This picture, you look at it, this is Vallecitos Water District. There it is, right there. I don't think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, then I would agree with Mr. Sinella,
So,
Director Sinella.
The
and
front of the building's
Put the
fine.
front
I
of the
don't care.
building.
That's
Yeah.
fine too.
Front of the building?
if this is that was my point, was that this is the pocket card that we're gonna be handing out. We want a picture, and this is, I know this is gonna be challenging, but we want a picture that represents the entire district.
Yeah.
How you capture that in a picture?
Yeah.
One single picture? That's for you marketing and branding experts, but,
I'm good
one
with-
particular tank, I don't care if it's gray or green, it doesn't doesn't represent our district. Maybe we do a collage or something, I don't know, but.
Yeah, it's only this big, so.
I know.
Yeah. Spit your
I'll give you a
wad.
heck of a collage, Mike,
A
but you won't be able
headshot
to
of
see
Dennis or
it.
something, you know?
Yeah. What?
I think the-
We'll look and see if we have something that's more representative. of-
Yeah, well, and you know.
Because water isn't our name, or we say maybe.
Exactly,
that
and
would be
maybe
more
a couple of examples, so
Okay.
that we could make a selection. Just
Okay.
after consideration, I think maybe the front of the building might be the right call.
Yeah, we'll make note of that, okay.
All right. Wait a second. Okay.
Yeah, so.
Now,
Yeah.
Mike, are we gonna
If there's
take these
something-
one section at a time? I think,
It's
We should do these one slide at a time.
Okay,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
sure seems
yeah.
like that might be what you guys prefer.
yeah,
so.
because I have questions on this one. I'm sorry.
No, no, no.
No, really.
That's what we're here for.
I have questions too.
Yeah. Again, the 74%, if I'm reading this, it looks like we're treating 70%.
We'll correct that, that's what.
Oh,
we talked
okay,
about earlier.
great, great.
That'll be
All right,
common throughout.
All right, and then, the decel, the 23%, we're not getting 23%.
That's the percentage of our total supply coming in.
Really?
Yeah.
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 For just us?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were less.
That's-
3,500
we're-
out of 15,000.
We're committed to the 3,500 automatically.
Yeah, right.
So that's more than anyone else.
No, but.
But no, it's about that, it's better, but again,
Okay.
you gotta keep in mind, our water demand fluctuates in a winter month, a summer
Yeah,
month, so
yeah.
that's an average.
Okay, no,
But
that's fine,
between-
no, I
yeah.
was.
But that is the percentage that we're
Okay.
getting from the DSEP.
Let's see. Where's the other one? Maybe it's coming
You ready for me to move on?
Nope.
No, I have one question while
Roger
you're
Martin.
waiting.
So DSEP.
Other than the engineers, who please don't answer this, no engineers to answer this, what's the size and the depth of an Olympic swimming pool?
The size and the depth?
Yeah, length, width, and depth.
I think,
We're using this as a standard here.
yeah. I
And
think
most
it's
people don't know.
55 meters long, and I think it's 22 wide, and it's I think, average of 5 feet deep. But
And then
I,
the deep end, right, where they do the diving.
I guess I'm.
Oh,
proving-
yeah, maybe that's
I guess
wrong.
I guess I'm proving my point. Nobody knows what that is, so let's not use that as a yardstick.
well, wait a second.
Director Evans?
I was gonna say, there's really absolutely nothing perfect to use there. Everybody's bathtub could be different, everybody's, I mean, could say an elephant, and we all picture a different elephant. I think what to me is significant is we're trying to get people to take a body of water and put it in something, and I think most people would know Olympic-sized swimming pool would be much bigger than their average one. That's what I think. I do not know what the exact size is, but I know it's a lot bigger than what I swim in, and I know it's a lot bigger than my former lap pool. So I think it's important we tie it to something with water. And so my concern, I mean, I don't know how we could define anything exactly perfect. So I think it's great for that reason. I think the Olympic is making it big. And that's just my comment. I can't think of anything that would actually
And I
be
think
precise.
What we were trying to convey was, you know, what a family uses and then relate it to something. So a six-year supply for a family is the Olympic swimming pool. So to try and
Mhm.
get the visual in people's minds of what an average family use versus what it is. And there's different,
Maybe we,
What's that?
50 meters long.
Close, Jim.
Oh, close.
Close.
No wonder I never won.
That
one more
last five
stroke.
Yeah,
years.
that's why.
One more
that's
stroke and
why-
you quit.
That's the reason.
Last 5 years.
what if you turned it around and instead of saying an Olympic-sized swimming pool equals, what if it was saying a 6-year supply of water for an average family could fill an Olympic-sized pool? Then the emphasis is not so much, it's about the water we're using. This is really about visualize a pool and think about how much water it is, and it's kind of a tag on that that's how much used in 6 years.
Sure.
Just, I don't know, it's a thought to flip it.
Not to totally change this all around, but to totally change this all around. What if we use this water number section to be more specific to Vallecitos, since it's our presentation, right? Instead of talking about what a family uses over 6 years, why don't we just talk about actual numbers? The average Vallecitos residential customer uses blah, blah, blah per year. That way, they can kind of look to see, oh, they can relate to that. It's, you know, it's my neighbors, it's our community, versus if we're gonna do something like this, I would like to see what the 1-year average is, not a 6-year average. And I'm not quite get the.
120,000 a year is our current customer average.
Okay. But,
What could you equate that to?
Hold on, let me do the whole number here. Let me check that.
and maybe we don't have to equate it, maybe we just present to them that an average customer uses, well, yeah, we probably should equate to something.
that being the
If we
point
do
is,
it-
how do you grasp what that is? You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to visualize the 120,000 gallons.
Well, that's.
That's very close to what our customers use in that time.
Is the 660?
Everybody has a second bedroom in the house, and most bedrooms are 10 by 12 by 8.
Well, the other thing that I didn't see is, and maybe it comes up later, an acre foot, because everybody knows what a football
Right
field
there.
is.
Down at the bottom, right?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Always got.
So we
the acre.
equate how many 100 cubic feet, 748 gallons.
Yeah.
Is how much an acre
Mhm,
foot.
mhm. Okay.
We could always draw an acre of land and say it's.
No.
But, you can only get so much information on a
Yeah,
little sheet.
it's on the card, for goodness
Yeah.
sake.
But maybe we can rotate the first statement around like Director Evans said and see if that just sounds better. I don't know.
But I also agree with the president that bring it down to a Vallecitos customer.
Mhm.
We're really big. Now let's bring it down to what a customer can understand.
Well, we can say that
Really-
the Vallecitos customer uses, average Vallecitos customer uses an Olympic pool, which is 600,000. So we'll rephrase and add the word Vallecitos.
Yeah, the take a shower, take a little bath is can be 35, can be 50, depends on the size of your bathtub. That's,
They're averages. They're
Yeah,
averages.
no, that, I think that,
and 100 cubic, and there again, you have to remember that you're an architect. The regular person that's reading their bill, they need more explained to them, I believe. Break it down to layman's terminology that I don't expect engineers or architects to understand.
yeah, but here's the problem we have, is this is on a bit, is this a business card?
Mm-hmm.
This
It would
is a
be
business
fit
card.
in your wall.
Al. I mean, we don't have a lot of room on this one.
I understand.
The website on the district where the bill explains the bill, which you'll see
Yeah.
at the next board meeting, actually explains what 100 cubic feet is. It's this, and this many gallons.
Yeah.
We have that on the website already. But again, you're talking about a business card. We can only
That's where,
stuff so much on there.
Yeah.
yeah.
May I?
Yes,
Mm,
Director Evans.
In a way, why does anyone really need to know what 100 cubic feet of water is?
Typically what you're being billed at.
That's a
So, I
unit.
mean, that one's a.
No, I know that, but
essential for
in
that.
this sense, I'm agreeing on this part, kind of what Hal is saying. If a person comes to me and says, oh gee, I used 100 gallons of water yesterday, and then I think of my 5-gallon jugs of water, and oh, that's 20 of those. I mean, if we had to literally get our water out of the jug and do everything we did and pour it, we would use a whole lot less water, because we have such freedom. So I'm just, it's not that this isn't important information for billing, I'm just wondering how I mean, I certainly don't look at it and go, oh, I just used 325. I go, geez, that was a lot of water, and I spent too much, how can I cut it? So,
When we use big numbers,
yeah, people
it
like
sends
that.
no, it sends the opposite message to the ratepayer, because the ratepayer says there is no way in hell I use 10,000 gallons of water.
So
Because
I'm
they
with,
equate 10,000 1-gallon jugs sitting in your house. So that kind of, excuse me, I've been fighting colds. That number, when we start using big numbers like that, it tends to actually confuse the ratepayer versus saying a unit. Because it make it equate to, I used one of these and that's it. But when you say they used 32,000 gallons last month, they just say there's no way. There is no way we did that.
So I think if you use this opportunity to show the metric that the average residential customer uses 10,000 gallons per month, because that's what it is, 120 divided by 12, right?
Okay, we'll try-
I
we'll
think
try to
it's
come
a
up
way
with
to,
different-
it's a way to explain to them that you're not the anomaly, right? And when we're handing these out, we're gonna be able to physically just, talk,
And
talk
and
about
again, we
it.
might be better off with a data sheet that you give out as well instead of a little business card. That's the trick with this business card size thing. You can only get so much on it. Or we can change it if the board wants us to. We'll say the average customer in Vallecitos uses 12 units now, 12 to 14, which is this many gallons per month. Is that what you'd like?
I'd like to see that right-hand side of the card relate specifically to our,
Mhm.
to our.
Oh, we can do
to
that. That's easy
Vallecitos,
enough. With
not
actual
just-
numbers, yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
And how we relate it to bathtubs or swimming pools or whatever, is not important to me. I mean, even like the last one, the HCF, like the cubic feet, I mean, I don't think that's gonna mean anything to anybody, to be honest.
well, my personal comment I had written down when I read it was, this bores me, I've seen it before, how does it relate? So, I'm sorry, it's important information, but
I
I'm
think
kind of
it's an
the same way.
opportunity, real quick, it's almost like, I like that it says water numbers, but it's almost like, did you know? And then you give them some highlights of, it's specific to our district that, what their neighbors are doing and people that they can kind of relate to, so.
Maybe, what if you took something like a 10-minute shower is equivalent to filling a whole tank of gas for something if you have 20 gallons of water? And that would be more, I mean, I'm not saying that's what we should use, but I'm saying that's a lot more realistic to people if they said, every time I took a shower, I had to go fill my car with gas. You think about it differently. That's all. Just another dumb idea.
Anything, Dr. Ellis, before we move on?
No, on the next slide.
Okay.
We're gonna need half a dozen cars, then we probably bid to death.
Okay.
Maybe we don't need a business.
Think of maybe another stab at that one. I don't mean to make you guys redo the whole thing, but that one right-hand side probably is to take another stab.
Okay, we'll take another shot at it.
so this is like a trifold?
So it's like
Okay.
four sides, right?
So I've got a comment on this one.
Okay, Director Elefar.
Yeah, the video says 350 miles of
Yeah,
water
and this
pipe.
probably needs to say pipes instead of water pipes.
Well, and that brings my second comment. The Vallecitos is more than just these water facilities. It's the sewer and water reclamation
Yeah.
facilities as well. So, I mean, it should say,
Want to have some of the other side of the house. in there.
well, yeah, the balance is, or 300 or so miles is collection system,
Yep.
and there's a 5 MGD reclamation facility and 4 lift stations and whatever else you have.
Pretty common.
So it's probably not enough room in this tiny little car.
No. But we'll get the, again, you're gonna have different things, and this is just something you guys go to something, you hand it out at a business meeting. Here's some basics on Vallecitos, that's all this is intended to do.
So I did see some inconsistencies
Yeah, we'll go
on
back and
miles
verify
of
that.
pipe between this and
Sure.
some of the other documents.
Okay.
There's also on the number, oh, I'm sorry. There's also some on the number of the professionals, shouldn't it say 100 plus?
Yeah, it said 115
at one
in one
point.
document, and 100 in this, and 100.
And over 100.
plus
Yeah,
in
I
one.
like to say over 100.
So maybe make
That's-
that consistent
That's my way of
across,
doing
make it consistent across all the documents.
Right.
Okay.
Director Martin?
I have a question. Is there a reason, I understand it must be aesthetic, that we use reservoirs instead of tanks? The reason why, to my way of thinking, prior to being in the water business, I've only seen one reservoir in this city. Maybe there's another one, the underground tanks, but the other ones are tanks above ground. And I think that's what people relate to. Maybe not engineers, but they are reservoirs, but they are tanks. Maybe we could put reservoirs in tanks, so people can see a tank, they go on reservoir. Where's a reservoir? Other than San Mar, is not what normal people, not in the business, would consider a reservoir.
Okay.
Storage
I
tanks.
remember, to
storage
Director
tanks.
Martin's point, the first time Ed took me out on the district tour, and he said, we're gonna go visit, this reservoir, this reservoir, this reservoir, and we got there, and I'm looking at a tank, I'm like, oh, that's a reservoir, okay, good to know. So, I mean, I kinda think the same way, so.
Yeah, the only differential usually on steel tanks and big reservoirs, that's over here.
We'll go through them and verify
Yeah.
that, because we have both.
Because we have both.
Okay.
Okay.
Put that one away. Outdoor water use frequently asked questions. Do you want me to reduce this in size or just finish it?
Would you please?
Which one?
Well, the whole thing, so we could see it on one page. 80. Yeah, we don't care about the words, do we? Or do we?
No,
Yeah, better than the pictures.
Well,
Comment on those.
Don't
Are
worry
we-
about the details.
Yeah.
It's not how you play the game, it's how you look.
No.
I printed, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I printed it out, and you could do it back to back, it covers one page, right?
Mhm.
Just that's on one page. But it did have some things in it, like, I just thought, looking at it, Vallecitos looks so insignificant in this page to me. Just the word, Sortini.
Bigger?
So, maybe bigger. I mean, that's just my thought.
Which you talking about then?
On the frequently asked questions this
logo.
sheet, I thought the
Oh, the logo
logo
in the upper
looks
corner.
so
Gotcha.
tiny.
Gotcha.
I think I'm good with bumping the size.
Okay.
And then,
That's
right
good
down in the
going.
very first paragraph, we have a phone number, but it's listed differently than I thought we were gonna do it. Are we gonna do 760.744 dot, or are we gonna put the parentheses around 760?
Trying to find it.
It's under how can I find out
Gee,
saving plans?
ask for this to be reduced.
Oh, is it down at the
Yeah,
bottom?
thank you. I can't read it down.
It's in the bottom? No, it's under the first
Chris,
picture.
could you make that, bring it back up in
Please,
size?
yeah, okay. You have to move around.
There you
That's
go.
okay.
Much
How's
better.
that?
Good thought, Chris, good thought.
So, did you find it? Go under the first picture,
Keep going.
how
Yeah.
can
There we
I,
go.
there you go.
Yeah.
The second paragraph in smaller type.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what did we do in the style guide? We have to see if we
I
addressed that
thought
in
the style guide said we were gonna put parentheses.
Okay, we'll go back and verify that.
Yeah, let's,
And then reading it off the piece of paper, not off of here, I find it very small print. and I find the blue just even
Is it
harder to
hard for you to
read.
read it?
I think it's really hard to read the blue. I'm not fond of white on the backgrounds either. That's just that's my reading situation. But I just felt like if we want them to go to our sites, we need to make those sites more prominent than this little squeezed-in thing.
Director Evans, are you talking about the pale blue is hard to read?
This it didn't print, let's see. Yes, like
Okay.
just where we were at the
Yeah.
numbers, if you go
Okay.
down, it says watersmartsd.org, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's blue, but it's also teeny.
yeah. That's when
So-
it's
so
got a
anything that
link in there.
leads
See
into
see
us, you
how my
want it
little
to
finger
stand out.
popped up?
So the blue didn't stand out to me, maybe that's
Can you
just
all
my.
see on the screen how my finger, there's a finger now on it, 'cause it's
Uh-huh.
hot linked. But let me see if we can,
I don't know, that's just.
You just want any reference point to pop out a little bit.
I think
Yeah,
it should.
yeah.
And then on the next page, when we do the tips for the outdoor water conservation, I thought as you go down a little further and you're the first stop, where the first line is repair irrigation line leaks and broken. Okay, it seemed to me that we should be highlighting the beginning portion, like repair irrigation line leaks, and then the rest smaller. Adjust sprinklers, so that we're kind of, not just a bunch of words, but if they don't want to read it, they'll see repair irrigation lines like in bold, adjust sprinklers in bold, don't overwater
Why don't
in
you-
bold
Why don't
or
you grab one
darker.
from Chris, just highlight it and bold it.
yep.
Because on a piece, I know
Okay,
on the
so right
paper,
there,
it
is
just
that what
looks
you're-
like
go ahead and bold that.
newsprint and pretty boring.
I think I'm in.
You're
Google
in the
Viewer,
wrong
so-
screen, sorry. So what we'll do is what he's, for
That's my
leading in,
thought.
you want, okay.
And you don't have to do the whole sentence, I
Right.
just think the repair irrigation
okay.
line leaks is enough, that would be my
Maybe Chris
suggestion
kind of
on
explain
that.
to it, what's the purpose of this document as far as, give us some examples of how we would use this in real life.
So this one's kind of frequently asked questions you would take along with you in doing a presentation to a group about outdoor water use. And we have a lot of those types of classes and things.
So
And
this is a
here's the
leave
handout.
behind? A leave behind?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we would have them here on our,
Would this be
front
something
door.
people would take home, they would read it, at their own leisure at home,
Correct.
their own time?
Correct.
And you'll get a lot, I'm sure if you've gone out, they've asked, well, what's the rule right now? Can we water 2 days a week? Do we do 1 day a week? When can we do it?
Right.
So this is your fact sheet that you'll have with you.
Director Martin?
Can you scroll back up to the beginning again? And it's just something that it always sends my antenna. The only number statistic that I saw so far that I liked that you used was water costs you less than a penny a gallon. That was a flat out, this is the up to and down to. We use up to 80% of our water outdoors. I haven't done the math, but if we look at the water that we use on a daily basis, take 80% of that, and take that off, and then we left with that 20%, and then we put it through the household use, and we don't have enough flow to make the type of gallons we're talking about making. So what I'm saying is that number's just not right.
Well, and
Up
it's,
to.
it's the up to.
Well, but up to means it could be 50%. It
Yeah.
could be 20%.
It could be. It
But-
could
but So I'm
absolutely.
just saying, that's a terrible, we use up to, because most people look at that and go,
But,
Good
and
call.
I agree to some extent, because I thought the number was high, and I've heard on average.
It's 50, 55.
Yeah, see, and I would think that if we use it on average
That's fine.
number, it would be a little more palatable. I mean, I do understand that if you use the 80%, people go, oh my goodness, but, I don't know about doing the math, but I initially thought, I went, oh gee, I thought it was in the 70s or something like that, but I think I would change that to an average number.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I just want to caveat that with, what's going on right now, it's maybe down around 33, and I don't want to put 33 on there because the trend is that it's about 50%. Well, right this instant,
Well, then only make 10 copies.
We'll revise it. We'll revise it. And again, you gotta remember, these things are living documents.
Yeah.
We're not gonna print this, and then a year from now, it's right.
Yeah.
Once we have these and they're generally accepted, we're gonna be editing these ongoing.
Yeah.
Ongoing.
50% sounds like more reasonable.
Sure, no, we'll change that. Yeah, we'll change it.
Anything else on the left before we?
I did have one more on this.
Okay.
If you go to the very last page, and you go under, under the, don't look at the bottom where it says homeowner's guide, then go up to replace your lawn, and go up to upgrade, and then go turn off your irrigation. Turn off your irrigation 1 to 3 days before it's expected to rain. Not gonna do that, because I don't know if it's really gonna rain or not. And then turn it back on when your soil is dry. Too vague. This can save hundreds, that can save hundreds of gallons, but most people, we're lucky if they will actually turn it off when it's raining. And nobody's sitting there with a timer going, oh, it's been 48 hours. They go out and the plants look like they need it, they turn it on, and if they're not gonna water, they don't. So I don't know if that's just a throwaway thought, or there's another way of wording that.
Pay attention.
I mean,
Okay,
I
we'll try to rephrase it.
you might have that connected with the one above it, the one below it, which is the smart irrigation. I just thought that was a lot of wording that nobody would do. Thank you.
And if you could scroll up to the pictures, let me just make a comment on the pictures. The one on the left is fine, the one on the right's a waste of time. Do the same as you would for Facebook. You put pictures on there that people are gonna look at, and maybe a picture of one of our employees with a truck, or, so, I mean, it's a lot more than that plant, unless you're a botanist, you don't really care. You really don't care.
How about if it's a picture of a whole yard, because what we're trying to get across with this slide is outdoor irrigation.
Yeah.
So maybe a wider angle picture of a yard.
Yeah, something that people are
One
gonna
of
look
our,
at, go,
one of
that's
our award
interesting.
winners.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe look at the award
That's a
winner
green,
picture.
that's a green shrub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Maybe you can caption it too, if it's an award winner, 2015. And then again, bring it back to us, Vallecitos award winner for whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Yard instead of plant.
Comment card, this one should be easy, I hope it's easy. So this would be left, after doing a Figures Bureau presentation. Good with this side?
Where the code's back, so we know which one it comes from.
It's just easier to make sure.
Yeah, you'll be able to figure it out, because it'll show up, and it's like, well, when did it happen? Who did it? Good enough?
Yeah,
I think that's good.
I did it, made it 4.
Good. Figures Bureau guide. It's for internal use, really.
When you say internal use, what do you mean?
Well, it's a guide for staff to use to organize the Speakers Bureau.
I have a couple of questions on just the overall Speakers Bureau. I thought when this came up and through the sessions that we brought it up, we're all very different people, we all have our own styles. Some of us have people that wanted to talk to us. So the Speakers Bureau, you're seeming to make it really staff-driven. It is, but maybe I'm wrong, maybe that's what you're trying to change here.
What I really think we would have with the Speakers Bureau is efforts put into reaching out more, like when I first started, that, people just would contact us and we'd send a speaker there. But this would be more driven, reaching out to the community groups and so forth. But also, we would make the effort to, I think I would be kind of the point person to say, are you available at this time? And ask board members, are you available on Tuesday the 17th at 3 p.m. to meet me at this location and do a presentation to a community group? So.
And when that took place, what would then you present to that group? Is it
The
in this?
PowerPoint that we're gonna see a little future on, and whatever module that we would wanna insert that would be appropriate to the topic that they're asking for.
Okay.
The other thing too is we may have to, and you'll see this, there's places where you go and it's, hey, you got a computer, you got a projector, boom, 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 let's go. And other places, or sometimes, it's not so much the fact that they don't have the equipment, but they can't darken the room. You go in there, it's like, the projector's not gonna show anything, it's just so bright in here. And they don't have curtains, sometimes it's a community room in an apartment complex or something, there's no way to darken it. And you just have to use the poster boards, and that's another asset that we have here.
But it would be tailored towards, like some groups, they just wanna know about conservation. That's all they wanna hear from you about. We don't wanna give them the whole PowerPoint presentation, because they don't care. That's why I think if it went through, we would tailor it. Now, if you guys got contacted directly, then you tell us what parts you want, and we'd supply that to you, and if you need support, we'd go with you.
Yeah.
Either way, it works either way.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought the idea of the point person was good, and the consistency and a more aggressive approach for presentation regardless of its staff or board members, or, I think that that is a good idea. I think, and a lot of times in these things, I think if staff were to run the PowerPoint, and then if there's an elected official there, then they can kind of do the Q&As and give their own perspective. I think that's a nice combination as well, but I like that this is a flexibility to go both ways, and I'm taking it, the real concern is that we're all kind of consistently saying this same thing, so we all agree it's 52% of our outdoor water use, and we won't be saying 84, and that's kind of the whole gist of it, right? Kind of a lot of work to get it organized, but I like
I think
that.
a lot of it just kind of comes together the more we do it too, because I know when James and I did, mainly James, did the presentation at a mobile home park recently on kind of a desal update and just kind of an overall update on the district. I just chimed in from time to time, where I thought it would, maybe I could bring kind of more of a, lower, kind of more of a public view versus an engineer view of something, or just kind of relate it a little bit differently to the audience, so. Or if it was just, maybe it was one of the areas I just happened to know something, and the other 99% I didn't know about, so, whatever it might be, but it was just kind of, I thought it worked really well, that we were able to kind of tag team it a little bit, so, and that may occur sometimes, it may be just completely a staff presentation, and the board member just participates in the Q&A, but I don't think there's gonna be any sort of like finely defined, way that we're gonna do these.
Everyone
is
Just gonna do it.
And we're gonna
Absolutely.
be developing more PowerPoints, more modules as we go,
Yeah.
when something new pops up.
Director Martin, you could.
Yeah, I love the idea of doing this, and I love that you're the point man. But just as us doing this has created a different type of position for which you were hired for, maybe it's more incumbent for the board to be doing something as well. And I'm just thinking that, I like the point person being, you're the contact person, you set the thing up. But gosh, I would just like to see board, and I'm thinking the president, whoever the president is that year, have some involvement, just to make sure that things go the way they should go, that the board's fully represented at different meetings and different opportunities. Not that you wouldn't do that, but I just think that it's incumbent upon us to at least the president, to keep an eye on what's going on with it. I think it creates more of a job, so I'm sorry to bring it up, but I think it creates a little more of a job, a little more of an oversight, but that's what we're here for, is oversight anyhow. So I'd like to see us have a little more oversight into exactly what you're doing by maybe having the board president as your contact liaison person to let know what's going on, who's going where. I mean, that's more of a job for the president, but just, again, more for oversight,
Well,
from
one
the
of
board.
To that note, I can't remember if it was Lisa that did it or if it was you, Chris, I apologize, but at one time, we were getting a bit of a, kind of a 30-day lookout of the different public outreach events that were going on via email, and it would go to the entire board, and then it would go out. If anybody would like to join us, let us know, and we'll make arrangements for either a board member or board members to be there. And it was kind of, it wasn't formal, very casual. Usually it was, if it was kind of more district-wide, maybe the president was there. If it was in somebody's individual division and they wanted to have the opportunity to interface with the people in their division, it'd probably be most appropriate for them to go.
Sure.
And sometimes nobody, just due to scheduling, nobody can make it. But I know you give us the updates that are kind of more after the fact now, but it would be nice to, Director Martin's point, to have kind of a 30-day lookout or 60-day lookout or whatever is
I
appropriate.
can absolutely give you a heads up of what's coming. And see who would be available if they want to attend it or whatever.
Certainly. Sure.
I like to I like that idea.
Yeah.
I think you should just let
Would-
everybody have the opportunity.
So
and-
would it be best that
and
if we have it, we just let the full board know?
Let the
Yeah.
full board know, I
Okay.
think, and then
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
it, just like you let the full board know afterwards what you've done, has been done. I think that would be great.
Sure.
Also, lets us all know what's going on. Who's doing what, where, when, how.
Okay.
That'd be great.
I think we're good with this one.
Okay, super. PowerPoint. And this is better PowerPoint than it is as a PDF. I'm just gonna
I
come.
just want to say, it truly does amaze me, because I've taken some classes on, like, favorite thing, Facebook, and that does truly amaze me how quickly you look at the person, the very first thing you look at is a picture of that person.
Oh,
Just by,
yeah. So this is a click-driven PowerPoint?
And on that note, this is a very strong preference type delivery on the person. The clicking, some people like to click, boom, 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 or that all pops in at once. When we do all of our presentation, and that's why it was styled this way, we're usually trying to hit facts to a group. So is that okay with you guys that click by item, or do you want them all to fly in one after the other? That can be changed with the presentation too.
I like the click.
I do too.
It gives you an opportunity to
That you
say
talk
something
Will you talk at each one?
if you want to.
Correct.
And if you
Okay.
don't, it gives them a second to read it.
And-
But the 100 needs a plus after it.
And the
Yeah, we'll fix all that.
350, yeah.
Yeah, we'll fix all those
I
inconsistencies.
knew.
Director Martin.
and to go back to something that was threw out as well. To us here in this room, we all know what unincorporated areas are. Before I got involved in political things, I never knew what an unincorporated city
County,
was.
San Diego.
I had no idea what it was. So, we need to say county.
Okay.
Unincorporated
It
areas,
gives the
people
speaker
don't-
the chance to explain it.
Well, hopefully you're talking more about water than, because it's, in many places you use unincorporated areas, and that's you're going, what does that mean?
San Diego County.
Is that just south of Bonzo?
It's a county in between the unincorporated county areas.
Or just county areas.
Yeah.
Or just county, we'll figure something out.
Yeah,
And we'll verify the statistics
that's my
on the
bureaucrat.
miles. This is where, Craig, where we
I
have the
think-
more details on the miles of pipe, pump
Oh, did,
stations.
yeah.
We'll
okay.
just make sure we're consistent.
There's that nice infographic. This is all from the CAT survey.
Director Martin.
And I'm sorry, one other thing. As a resident, I have no idea what a pump station is. I could care less if you have 1,000 pump stations. I'm just mentioning, there are things in here that people, what's a pump station?
Where are you looking at that?
Anyways, I'm
On
wondering-
Oh, the one before?
Previous one.
I'm just saying, we need to relate more to people, the tanks. You know, I mean, I
Well,
understand it needs to be there for whatever reason, but I'm just saying, most of the residents go, what's a pump station? What pumps? Or what does it pump?
I think I'm gonna disagree with that, sir. You know, it is a pump station, and if we have to explain what a pump station is, then we have to. We're not gonna change, what the hell else would you call it? It's a pump station, or just a pump,
But why do you have it on there?
I'd
because
like,
I think it's part of the data.
We also have 14 toilets in this building. I don't see that going up anywhere.
Yeah, but if you have a pump station, because of one of the earlier graphics, it let people know that we just don't get the whole thing through gravity. We've gotta pump it to places, and so it's a pump station.
It does give us an opportunity
Yeah,
to.
I mean, I think it does
explain
have some relevance.
Where, how electricity plays a role in the rates.
Absolutely, there, you know, you can babble on a little bit as to why
Director Evans, you have
it's
something?
there and what it has, but I think staying with the nomenclature that the industry uses, so people understand that, maybe they go to another presentation and hear something and go, well, how come this is a tank and that's a reservoir?
And it's a
So-
water pump station and it's a sewer lift station.
Yeah, exactly.
Change the names. on those.
Yeah, so I think I'd leave it the same.
I would just gonna say, I agree, I think that the important part about us telling them that they have 10 pump stations is that does give us the opportunity to explain why you have things that need repairs and why you have energy costs, as President Sanella pointed out. I think of the 19 reservoirs, I think if we say reservoirs / storage tanks.
Yeah, we'll fix it.
I know, but I'm just saying, people could say, well, I don't know where the reservoirs are. Well, we have them whether you know where they are or not, and then that becomes the job of the presentation. And I also just want to say on the unincorporated areas, someone said just add county, but we're all in the county. The unincorporated are the ones that aren't in cities. So I do think if you're going to say unincorporated, you need to say unincorporated county areas, if that's even important that they know. I figure people can figure it out, but thank you.
Yeah, I think another important reason to show facilities is that the big question people have these days is, I'm conserving water, why does my bill keep
Yeah.
going up? It's because we gotta take care of all these facilities, regardless of how much water you use.
Absolutely.
If I might, that was part of the explanation that we use as well, is that a private business, if business drops off, they eliminate with their product, they eliminate their import, their cost to buy materials and everything else. We don't change because we sell less water. We've still got to maintain 350 miles of pipe. We still pay just to maintain pump stations the exact same amount. So that's why we always use those numbers, is that it doesn't just suddenly go away when the economy gets smaller. We've still got to maintain the same amount.
Right.
And actually, when it runs less, it tends to cost more. It's like putting a motorhome on your side yard, you don't drive it. It costs you because you didn't use it. So that's part
I
of
like,
why we do that.
I like Director Martin's famous line where, water's free. You're more than welcome to go to the Colorado River yourself.
go pick
Nobody's
it
gonna
up.
stop you.
Yeah.
Take all you want.
Free at the
Yep.
source.
You can do that on a daily basis. if
You need
like.
750 of those
Yep.
1 gallon jugs.
Yep,
But don't drink it.
yeah, won't be treated. And then, this graphic on the right, I do like it. Are we gonna have I saw something similar, with the Port of San Diego recently that had some of their statistics, but it was on a poster board, like it was like a high-quality glossy, I don't know, 3 feet by 5 feet board that was on an easel. Are we gonna do anything like that too, for those times where
I
we don't?
think that's perfect, and it might be one of the ones, but I can't remember.
Yeah, we can do that. Anything that you see on any of these
Yeah.
PowerPoints can be done and printed on, put on a board.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think it is, but.
So when we have like a table at the street fairs
Mhm.
or the different events, we don't actually have a presentation, but we can
Just
put
put
it
it
on
behind
an easel?
Yeah.
Director Martin?
Quick question, Chris. 17% that don't approve of us, why aren't they approving of us?
Can't make everybody happy.
What's that?
Well, the very first one is 83% approval rate, it means 17% do not approve of what we're doing.
Yeah, that's why we're out here talking.
Well, if you recall, there was 2 or 3 categories that were above average that came to that full 83%.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you had 3 categories that were
think
kind
there
of
was-
don't like,
Yeah, and there was. an
really
NA
don't
in there,
like,
too.
and we hate you. That's, it was 3 on each side.
Low rates.
And so, there's a lot of data here, and I'm kind of a numbers guy, and I was in a presentation just today at work, where we were kind of recapping the year, and we were doing, some employee survey information. What, is 83% good? I mean, how are we benchmarking that? Is it, I mean, how does that compare? Is there any kind of averages we can compare that to? What does it mean? I mean, I know it's 83%, but is that good? Is it bad? Is there room to improve? Obviously there is, but.
Can we say it's one of the highest in the
Dr. Ray, when he
industry?
did it, he said it was one of the highest surveys he's
I
ever
think we
seen.
should say that. But the other thing is, there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot going on here, and it's kind of sends a mixed message to
Well,
me.
sadly, it is a little bit of a mixed message. They think
83%
we're doing great, but
approval
they don't even
rating,
know
yet
how to do
73% are unaware. That, to me, is a mixed signal.
this. It absolutely is. And the data just is what it is, and you kind of go, gee, well, they think we're great, but they don't know who we are. And there's interesting things in there.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it's
that's
almost
part
too-
of the reason why you want to get out and talk
But
about it.
why are we even telling our customers some of this stuff?
Right,
Why-
that's what I'm
Why would we
wondering.
even tell them that 42% of them can't name the water department? I just-
I've been out there and explained, that's why I'm here today, is to let you know that
Yeah.
this is who we are. And that was kind of my, there's little freelance that goes on with every PowerPoint presentation, and that's the point you put in.
Director Evans?
This is kind of on the same thing. I didn't understand why we were telling them to 42%. When we say our valued customers that they can't name the water department, and then department confused me because we call ourselves a district, but this is the only time I saw us use the word water department.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
think
that
that was
was
the way the
interesting.
survey actually was written, like, who's your
But
water department?
I think
like
there's a,
purveyor or
oh,
something.
okay, maybe there's another word that would work, but it seemed to me if I'm talking about my valued customers, it's either gonna be our valued customers, and then we're saying you're valuable, but you don't know what we do. And I do understand that. I can approve of the way my water's coming to me, even if I have no clue how we do it, and I don't think about my sewage. So I can understand 83 approving of our agency and 73 not really being sure what we do. But maybe we need to change the wording, unaware of what we're doing, or how the district functions, or
Services provided.
the service, all, or some, I'm just
Yeah.
throwing that out. And then I think the 80% unaware rebates is important to the audience, because they're going, oh, that's me, I didn't know about them. Not knowing what the department does, I don't know if that needs to be on here as much as it does offer the person presenting a point to say, just start off with, do you, somewhere in your presentation, do you know the name of?
The reason that one came up, where that number was so high, you may remember when you saw the numbers, there was a name of Mesa
Yeah,
Water
because
or
of the.
something or another.
Yes.
Well, that's a bill collection agency that all of the multi-tenant things send their
Yes.
payment to. So they didn't know who Vallecitos Water District was, because they write the check out to Mesa Consolidated Bill Collection.
Oh,
That's why that number was thrown in there. It wasn't, they didn't know who Vallecitos was. The multi-tenant type things, they pay a bill internally to a collection group that has a different name. They pay us. That's where that number came from.
yeah.
But is that important in our presentation?
Maybe not.
That's my question, that's all.
And we could, you know, if we want to pull the bullet out, that's no harm to me to pull that bullet out, but it's interesting, and it shows you that some of our customers, the end user of the water, really doesn't know.
Okay.
Director Martin.
I would agree, the left-hand side, the right-hand side, I had some questions on, the left-hand side, that tells me 17% don't approve. 59% of homeowners, I don't think anybody cares. 8 years average residency, I don't think anybody cares. 73% unaware, that seems to be 83% approval. Unaware of rebates, which means you always have to carry the rebate stuff with you, because people are gonna say, oh, what rebates? So it automatically gets you into the conversation of rebates, which may or may not be what you're there for that day. And 42% can't name the water department, meaning you're the department of the city. Exactly what that means, that's exactly what that's written for, can do anything but that. So, I don't see a need for the left-hand side personally. That's
Yeah, and I take back what I said earlier about the slide on the right, because I like the graphic, I just don't like, we're just reiterating the same data. This is, you know, there's the gift of feedback, right? I'm trying to envision articulating this in the presentation, and I'm trying to see what the value is of our customers know. This was polling data that we were gathering to help us create this presentation. But it's not really valuable, it's kind of valuable polling data for creating a presentation, but it's not, I don't see any value to share a lot of this with our customers. If it was 93%, then I would say that's something we would wanna, you know, highlight, but.
If we want to pull this slide out, I'm good.
No, we can just turn it off.
Yeah.
That's all we do is turn it off.
Yeah.
It's more extemporaneous, it's giving you a template of what you wanted, but you don't have to. We can just
I
hide the
think
slide.
it might
for
be
the-
good for talking points. They can further elaborate if somebody has a question, but just showing this, I think.
What if you just showed the right side?
But the right side is still, it's the same data.
Same
Yeah.
It's the same information, I agree.
I want to do something with this graphic because I think there's a lot of potential here. It's just that, again, you're telling 42% can't name their water. I mean, why would we tell them that? The data in there is just, you know, it's not appropriate for that audience.
Well,
Director Hernandez.
it may be, maybe this is just the beginning of a graphic from which the speaker then could pick and choose and elaborate about what
That's kind of why
the
you're there.
situation is.
We realize we're not doing this.
And if you're the speaker and you want to say, oh, by the way, after we change the word, by the way, we find that 42% of people don't even know that we're your water agency. As just a comment to slide through, I would, if, in the opportunities I will be speaking, I'm gonna be going through obviously the PowerPoint first and saying, you know, this group, we don't need that. This group, we may, and I may use some of these bullets fast or slow. So I think what we have is a tool from which we can pick and choose and turn on and off at our discretion. So, with the word changing that we talked about, it's either on or off. I do have a question. Would you go to the next slide where there's photos on the side? 'Cause yeah. I know this is, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Apparently, this is, the style guide is the same photos on the picture every time.
Background.
When we went through the style guide, it flashed in my mind, I had a note here, but I wanted to make sure it was correct. I don't know, does anybody else have a feeling that the redundancy in that, or is that the consistency of that?
I think
Does it bother anybody else?
From a branding standpoint, I like the consistency. I mean, this particular slide here is kind of blah.
Well, I'm not worried about the slide, I'm talking just about the style guide with the pictures.
The
The
side.
same pictures on each one on the side.
Oh, on-
That's all
on
I'm
your
talking about right now.
Are you saying that the strip should be different on slide by slide, or?
Maybe, that's what I'm talking about at this particular juncture.
Director Martin?
I would think on a presentation, you want to keep the pictures more or less the same, because you don't want people diverting their attention from you or whoever the speaker is to looking at all the pictures. You want the attention to be on the speaker, not the pictures. You keep changing the pictures, people are gonna go, oh, do I know that, oh, where's that? People will take their,
The content's what you want them focused on.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
think.
and why I brought that up is when we do a PowerPoint, we have our logo, much like the logo at the header there. And the rest is blank, so it's the only thing that is consistent is the logo. Now, our style guide says we're doing a logo plus the pictures. I don't, again, that's not a big point, but I just brought it up in case somebody else saw it as well.
Director Evans?
Oh, we just kind of got off to the next slide. I was just gonna say, back on the one with the questionable, do we want to keep it or not? I would like to say, I think it would be interesting for the audience to just see the graphic part, not the words, so we're not telling them what they're supposed to remember out of it. And like Director Hernandez has said, it gives you an opportunity to just say, our valued customers, and then we did a poll, and these were some interesting facts. You focus on what you want. So you don't have to talk about 42 don't know, but you could point out that 35% never see their water bill because they're in a rental unit. So I kind of like that. And then I agree on the pictures. I like variety, but I think the consistency, I think Director Martin's correct. We should just keep it as it says, because if we're going to change the photos, we want it to be in the page, not on the edge.
As a comment to add in, this slide might be really useful as put at the end of the presentation after your last one that says thank you, and you can use it if you need to go get it. It's not really part of the presentation, it's one after, but if there comes up a query that you want to pull this data up and share it with the group based on a question, you can kind of forward to that slide and pull it up. And that may be the answer is, it's just another tool in the toolbox.
And what I meant by taking it back is I don't think this would be an appropriate slide to have or a poster board to have at a street fair or something. I like the graphic. I even like the how, what, why, but we just need to change the data. I think of it like if you think from politics, right? You poll folks, you survey folks, and you use the information that you get to craft your message to them. We're not crafting a message out of this, we're giving them the data from the poll.
Right.
I mean, that's not what, if you're running a political campaign, you would never do that. You would craft a message based off the information that you got. So, I just don't, this is foreign to me, I guess, just sharing them. When you do like an employee survey and you're trying to, and again, what we talked, the gift of feedback, if you will, and then you're just having an honest conversation with, in an intimate setting, that's one thing, but, for a broader audience, it's just walking around at a street fair or something like that. I don't know if this is the right message. Director Martin.
I like the graphic idea. I think we're giving the presentation, we're telling people who we are, Vallecitos is. And I think that would be more appropriate as to what our customer is show as some of us have a very large one in our house, showing where the tanks and reservoirs are, showing where the pump stations are, showing where Meadowlark is, showing where our facility is. I mean, showing what we are. We're there, we're telling people about Vallecitos. We're not telling them about themselves. It's like, well, let me tell you more about, because that's more like you want to tell them about the city or the area, rather than what we do. So I think I'd rather show us what we have, what we do, show where the lake is, show all that. I mean, show what's interesting about us, not about them. That's my thought on it.
Well, we keep going through, and maybe it'll relate back to this, and we can figure out how to modify this.
And one question I have, and Director Hand has brought it up, I thought it was interesting. When we're gonna go give a presentation, does that mean we need to come in and sit with you, take your time, and go over what slides we want and what we don't want? That isn't how I saw this happening, but if that's what you're saying is gonna happen, I guess it is. I thought you were gonna come up with a presentation. We can choose whether you click through it or not. But are you able to change the slide anytime we want to?
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
delete it out.
Just turn it
Okay,
off.
so
Yeah.
we'll come in and
Just give
see you
Yeah.
and build it.
Give you a drive and.
Yeah, just turn it off or modify it or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're doing the Boys and Girls Club and you want the front page to say the Boys and Girls Club with this date and picture,
Yeah, exactly.
we add it to it.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, so that's the intent is, this is not a cover-all wind wall for everything you guys
Yeah,
may pop
exactly.
up with.
Yeah.
It's the tool that we're gonna modify and grow and build and everything else, that we
Yeah.
just roll into it. But if it's a Boys and Girls Club, we'll give you a title sheet that says Boys and Girls Club,
Exactly.
this date with what you're doing.
Awesome.
Mission
And I agree,
slide.
that's kind of blah, we'll come up with a better way to show our mission statement.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with showing it. Our
I
mission.
think we can, no, we'll show the mission statement, but we'll look at font, maybe just the way it's displayed to make it a little more.
A little elementary.
Yeah, yeah.
How do we do that?
Now that I'm seeing the fonts and the actual PowerPoint, are these all, are they all Arial narrow? Is that what it was? So typically, what I'm more accustomed to is seeing the header being maybe Arial narrow or being a different font than the bullet points.
It's larger and I think it's bolded.
Okay, from a branding, best practice, is there, most of the corporate presentations, I see there's a slight difference. It won't be significant. It'd be like Arial narrow up here in the title, and then on the header, and then maybe just Arial, so that way it's just a slight difference.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, and so you should be able to see that the top title line is bolded.
I noticed that, but it still it kind of all blends together, maybe a different color, or, I don't know, but just looks it's all blended.
And I think that size is based on, like it could be bigger, but then then you start to get into that where the title gets longer
Oh,
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
starts to
I
press
think-
over into the logo, and so you.
I think the font size is appropriate, maybe,
Yeah.
if anything, I would probably reduce the size of the bullet points slightly, not by much, but maybe just a tad, but, the header font size is fine, I just, don't know. I'm used to seeing them being a little bit slightly different font. Director Evans?
Would it help if there was just a line drawn on, between the white and the blue?
Just a
Where it
dark-
says, how do
dark
we do
line.
that? And then just draw a line under it. I don't want to make it smaller. I know what you're saying about
You
the
want like a dark
difference,
line right
but
here, is that what you're saying?
something to
Right underneath it.
separate it, or under, how do we
Right-
do that?
Yeah, right underneath it,
Or-
a line the same point height as the bold, so that it
So it's just
punches
underlined.
out that.
Maybe either underline the words or draw a line across where you just had it, whatever, someone else can make that artistic thing. I don't want it to get smaller, because I do know how hard it is to read sometimes
Yes.
in an audience. And blue on blue
Yeah.
is already a little bit difficult to
And you're gonna
some.
get a different presentation everywhere you go, because of the graphics that they have,
So,
everything.
That's
It's
why,
gonna-
that's why I was thinking,
but separating it is a good idea.
That dark line might do that. We'll look at it.
can you just real quickly just go in here and highlight these 4 bullet points and just make them regular Arial, just so we can kind of see it? then take it from 30 to maybe 28 or 24. Probably 24 because of the picture. And then one thing we could do is increase the spacing in between the bullet points.
I
But-
like them smaller.
I would have to say I go for the bigger print myself,
Mhm.
because people won't be able to read it. They're sitting in the back of the room.
And keep in mind, we can do these, and that's gonna be the feedback you're gonna get on your feedback
Right.
card.
Yeah.
Which is
I-
too small, too big,
Exactly.
change the color.
Okay, and then go back to the slideshow, at least just for the slide. No, keep it how it was, but then go back to the slideshow.
To what?
The slideshow, up here, to the upper, there you go. So, but you see how the fonts are just a little bit, I mean, we can adjust the size and make it bigger, that's no problem, but just having just a slightly different, having Arial narrow up top and then Arial in the actual body, I don't know, it seems like it presents better to me. but-
It just looks tiny to me, is all it looks.
Okay,
And
so you guys are
squished.
laser
Sorry.
focused on the side. Okay. Thank you for going through that for me. I don't like the word run by.
How about we just say the board of directors?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Oh, I thought that's what we did now.
will we get under pictures taken in January? Could you have them,
Whenever, we'll need to schedule it. Yeah.
yeah, could you have them, give us the correct, ratio? Because that makes us all look a little chunkier than we are, truthfully. That's the wrong ratio that he's given to you, and the way that you've used it.
Could they find a slimmer ratio?
Well,
Yeah,
no, there is, but
It's
everybody,
more
no, it's-
flattering.
everybody, Craig looks fat.
Okay, we'll just change that to
It's
the
just
board.
the wrong
to the board.
aspect ratio.
We'll just
Oh,
change
good.
that to the board of
I think you
directors.
meant that.
Thank you, Al. I didn't think it was that
It used to
big.
say
You're not-
governed.
oh, good.
doesn't it?
But it,
Oh,
all joking aside, I will say the
Sorry.
photographer that we hired to take, the headshots when I first got on the board, and I don't know who these people are, their names, companies, or anything like that, but I thought they did better work, better quality work than the one that we had,
Prior.
that did this one.
didn't he use the same one?
No, they were two different
Was it? Okay.
firms, so again, I don't know, I couldn't even tell you their names, but I thought he was a little bit more, he took more time with us, he kind of is a little bit more detail oriented as far as positioning us, I think he did a little bit of,
Slimming?
what do they call it when they kind of like, you know,
The ratio.
Photoshop.
but, you know, the color, yeah, photoshopping essentially, but, airbrushing it, yeah, that kind of stuff, so.
Okay.
I don't know if
we'll
he
go
did it
back
in,
and
but.
That was 4 years ago, I had more hair too.
Dr. Evans.
Sorry. You know, you ever run by a board, on the copy I had, it said governed by Board of Directors. Governed is much better than run, and Board of Directors is okay. But if you were
Yes.
flowing, but you said our mission,
Governed by?
how do we do that? But this one had, that I printed out off the,
Yeah.
Yeah,
was
we're always
governed
content.
by.
Yeah,
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, you have
I've
to,
got it.
that's better than run, but, or maybe just Board of Directors. It's just-
Right, did you see that? Read it?
Pardon?
Read it?
Right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. There.
Can we get
What's
some
that?
music too?
I have a
Oh.
question. For Scott, using our individual pictures in the presentation, isn't that questionable? I've understood we can't use them in publications.
Well,
Can't
that's,
use
yeah,
them.
it's really just a publication issue, and that's also, that's pretty much, that rule is pretty much gone by the wayside with the internet. You couldn't, if you had, it was the mass mailing
Yeah, mass
issue,
mailing is the
if you
issue.
might recall, where public agencies would feature director, you know, so-and-so in their newsletter, and tell you how, you know, wonderful this person was, and then they'd mass mail it to people all over the district. And so the FPPC said, wait a minute, that's advertising, we're not gonna allow you to do that. As long as you're not that's the only exception, is this mass mailing issue. You can use the internet, you could use these, you know, you're free to use the, public funds
you know, doing this, it's just that mass mailing is the only thing you have to worry about, and we don't even hear about it anymore.
So they can't take this and use it as their
Yeah.
campaign.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't put a link to your campaign on
On
your, on the city's website?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you couldn't do that, but if you wanted to go out, if you were, you know, providing information and, you know,
Not that anybody would ever do that in North County.
well, you know, you,
Okay.
you can do that.
My own personal opinion, I like the total board picture. I don't see a whole lot of value of breaking us out individually. I mean, that's all, again, I'm thinking about time too. Most of the time, you're gonna get 30 minutes at the most, maybe 40 minutes with some Q and A.
And-
We don't need
And
individual.
particularly because we have the one slide that has us in the divisions, if,
Yeah.
you know, we can point to it then, and then the great slide with all of us together.
Yeah, and again,
I agree.
these, all you do is click, turn off, turn off, turn off,
Yeah.
turn off.
Mhm.
If there's a reason you wanna use it, you just turn it back on.
Yeah,
Can,
because you want to point out the bad.
can the names go under after we get our new photo? Can't we just put the names under the pictures?
So
On the,
it's part of
on the
picture?
broad, on the big one of all five of us? Is there not room to say,
The group picture? Go
on
back
the
to
group picture, can you put the names like Division
It
One?
might be really small, that's what I
Oh.
just was worried about.
Okay, yeah, because I'm not, Mike
If it
probably
fits, we'll
wouldn't
look
use
at
the big
Yeah.
one. Okay.
See, and I would think maybe you just do the names, you don't have to do the division, unless it's important to somebody.
On this, like, it's just kind of an overall just quality aspect. Like, I think we could take the multiple pictures and build something really nice in like a Photoshop type of program, or maybe some other sophisticated software. So you don't have these little gaps, and it's just more pleasing to the eye. I don't know, this looks like something, I mean, I'm trying not to be mean, but it looks like something that, you know, maybe a middle school person would have put together. It just seems like, okay, so,
That's me.
I know, I'm trying to be,
It's too busy.
it's not even that, it's just.
It's not,
it
it's
was
not
like
collageable.
Cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste, but there's no, like, there's so much, I mean, it's 2015, there's so much technology out now what you can do with I mean, what you can do with your pictures on your phone before you post it to social media is, I mean, you can change the whole thing, and I just think this is just like, we just kind of cut and pasted and threw them in there and left some blanks, and it's just, I just think, you know, this is gonna represent the district probably long after all of us are not even here. This is our shot to do it, let's do it right.
Yeah.
There's a picture of our building.
That doesn't make sense.
Oh, sure, it's up on wastewater.
Mhm.
Oops.
Are we saying the water in that pond is from us?
That's the golf course, but the water is from us.
Is it?
One, and I don't remember, I put a note here, but I can't remember where it was fit in. One of the questions is that we do all this recycling and none of it comes to us. And is there a place in here where we explain the reason why? Because it's at the south end of our district and to pump it up is not economically feasible.
I've had that same question while talking. to
Yeah,
you,
and so it,
And that's just
maybe
the
there's a
answer.
place, someplace in the correct area that we put it in so we can address that issue.
So something on why do we act as a wholesaler?
Yes,
Okay,
and why we don't get any of it.
okay.
And we can elaborate on that when we're out in the field.
Well, that's easy, we can add the facts downhill, it's gravity, we can say.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Why we act as wholesale. Okay.
Mhm.
And this is a very, there's a lot of just sentences and a lot of just written stuff in here. It's very intensive that way. This would be, this particular slide, because you kind of have a natural flow there, you're kind of articulating a flow. Having a graphic that kind of shows that, I think would be really neat and kind of again, more, kind of just more modern. Because you're talking about a process flow, basically, quite literally a flow of water. And I don't know, just again, the whole presentation, there's a lot of bullet points and there's a lot of verbiage, but, kind of my understanding of the direction that presentations and PowerPoints are going is kind of less is best, and showing more graphics and kind of being kind of more visual, versus, just one bullet, verbiage.
Do we still have that cartoon that we used to use as a graphic? We used to have a cartoon because to do a nice graphic is about as interesting as looking at lines.
Mhm.
But we had a cartoon that showed the house, the pipe of water went down to the treatment plant, came back out, and showed the whole process of wastewater treatment disposal. I'm wondering if we still have that graphic.
Well, yeah, excuse me, but I think we have in the video that sort of a
Yeah, we talked about it in the video.
Is that what you're suggesting?
I like that, but you
Yeah.
can't capture the whole video on one slide.
No, but I mean.
Something like that. Yeah.
And something like that on this.
Versus just, words and.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, could you go back one, just one? Chris, what was your takeaway on what we just said about that slide?
That really he wanted to see more of an animated image of what was happening versus the end users of it.
Oh, okay, but you're just, it's not gonna be animated.
No.
So you're just gonna like have the, out of the tap, and you'll try to draw the circle or arrows, or is that what?
Look for something to fill
Okay,
in for that.
just wanted to see if what I was thinking was what, I was kinda lost where we ended.
Yeah, and
Um,
Chris, I mean, I don't even know how you're gonna do it, but again, I mean, that's why we've contracted with expert in this area, and, they're just ideas. I mean, I'm not trying to.
And then, on this one, was there any reason not to put the percentages of water that's coming from it, or
That's a moving target.
Yeah,
it's too big of a
varies
moving
so
target?
much.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
We'll change the font on that too.
Yeah, the comments.
And I think on this particular, there we go, thank you very much.
It's very hard to read from
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, we'll change the graphic on this.
Yeah, I think we can size this up.
We'll size that better, clean it up.
Director Elfart?
Yeah, on the number 2 there, Colorado River via SR, shouldn't that be 242 mile?
Yeah.
I don't know what SR 242 means. But over there on 1, you said 444 mile.
Yeah, we'll check that.
Good eye.
Director Martin?
State water project, I don't know that you need the entitlement of 2.0 million acre feet, no one knows what that means. We get water from the state water project. Transfers and storage. Interesting concept, and we're gonna have to explain that when we're showing this to city people. Transfers, let me tell you how they work. That's gonna be forever. And local supplies, you have to tell me more about local supplies, so I'm up on exactly where we're getting our groundwater as local supplies.
So you want some definitions of what each of these are, sort of a simple definition?
No, I guess in my mind, I want what a typical resident, the typical person I'm speaking to.
What it means to them.
Yeah, groundwater means it comes out of the ground, to most people, not to engineers, not to
Okay.
people in the
So
industry.
you want simple terms for what these things are?
Yeah, something
Okay.
we can relate to the audience, I think, not engineers. If we're going to talk to engineers, we'd bring,
Sure.
you guys.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Director Evans?
On that particular slide, would it be detrimental if we simply removed the transfers and storage and the local supplies? I mean, that's really not, what we want to tell people is it comes from the state water project, from the San Juan, does it matter if we tell them what those little things are or not? Because then it makes it a very clean, and we don't get into the
Yeah.
details. And if they want to do the details, then we say, well, I would love to come back and do a presentation
Sure.
on transfers and groundwater banking.
Out of curiosity, what is the SR 242?
I think they're talking about how far it is.
Yeah, it's the mileage.
Yeah.
Something just got messed up with what is printed there. State Route 242.
That's what I thought it was, I don't think there is a route.
On the video that you showed to start with, you had the mileage for the
Yeah.
state water project, and you said and Colorado River in that same statement. So maybe in the video, you should say 444 and 242.
I remember when that was a little confusing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a question.
Dr. Martin?
I haven't talked to anybody about this, but somewhere, maybe Mr. Hernandez, maybe you remember, somewhere I saw a picture of this tank with thermal panes over it.
Yeah,
Where did I see that?
it was at one of our last conferences, and I went, what the heck is that? And it was a
Solar
Photoshop.
paint,
solar, but who did that?
I don't know, but I
Yep.
saw it, and I went,
Yes, and I can't, and I brought it, maybe it was your attention.
That's looking, towards the north, you're looking at the solar panels.
Oh, those are the solar panels on the water authority's tanks right next door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's at the treatment plant.
Yeah, that's at the treatment plant.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the two next door. I
They
thought somebody
said-
was using this to market.
somebody
No.
said, it said Twin Oaks, and it showed the graphics. so I
Twin Oaks
immediately
treatment
assumed-
plant.
Yeah.
Twin Oaks treatment plant.
There we go.
Twin Oaks treatment plant.
Uh-huh.
So if somebody using that marketing, that's not us. That's the
Yeah.
Twin Oaks
A little
treatment
bit,
plant.
a little bit.
Okay.
And we'll fix all these numbers.
Wait a minute.
Dr. Martin?
In the future, though, out of curiosity, with the recent upgrade of Meadowlark to 5.25, where are we intending on selling that to? I think Carlsbad and Liebenheim are gonna have greater use.
Well, 5.25 is how much you have to run through it to make 4.5. We have a long-term contract with the two agencies to buy the full 4.5 when we can sell it to them.
Oh,
Yeah, you lose 7 to 10% in process when you run through. So we can only get them 3.5 right now. We have contracts to sell 4.5, which at 5.25 is 74% of our wastewater.
all right, all right.
Yeah.
So would it be more correct to say that we recycle 4.2? The loss is the loss. I mean, that's not really what we put out there.
You know, probably not, because then you're trying to explain numbers to them, then you have to explain why it says you sell 3.5, but you recycle 4.2. You might be better off sticking to the number you actually sell.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but we weren't doing that. I thought you just did.
No, we run
5.25.
probably 4.25 million to get 3.5, but we're selling 3.5. Yeah, so the 3.5 is
No, I
what
agree,
we,
what we really do.
that's what we're actually selling is 3.5.
Yeah, that's,
When we get the upgrades and we have more sewer, we'll be selling 4.5. Liebenhain is the one that takes the next big chunk.
Director Evans, did you have something?
No, sorry, I didn't.
My only comment here is that, and this could be up to the speaker, but just to really point out, like, we don't put any of our recycled water to the aquifers, right? So we, you know, it's not specific to us, that's just in general, this is, recycled water is put into lakes and streams and aquifers, and, is there anything that we can bring, again, bringing this back to us, is there, what, you know, we did touch on it during the video, I know, you know, we sell it to golf courses in
Yeah.
Carlsbad and Legoland, is that more appropriate in this presentation than to,
Well, that's
again,
where we'll add a slide that says we're a wholesaler and that's why we're not getting it. Back in that, that's what Director Hernandez was saying.
Yeah.
So we'll modify that to why we wholesale. And we can probably clarify that this is just general, where reclaimed water goes. Is that what you want?
Yeah, I mean, well, it gives us an opportunity to say, yeah, Orange County does a lot of this aquifer stuff, and they had lots of, but again, for our audience, I think that we should, we should reduce the size, the overall size of the presentation and make it Vallecitos specific. Director Allenhardt?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the aquifer, release to aquifer and then lakes, streams, and rivers isn't really it should be either ocean outfall or non-potable reuse. I mean, that's the two places that it goes as of today.
Or maybe that's in a slightly changed of slide, that's where you put the three places that we're selling it to. That's really where it's going.
I mean, we don't release to lakes, streams, and rivers.
Yeah, show where it really goes to.
I mean, this would even be a good opportunity to kind of show off our reservoir and, you know, again, show our facilities if we can either have if we already have a good picture of Mar, or we can get, because you know, again, before I got on the board, I drive down Rancho Santa Fe to go to work every day to kind of cut the corner to the freeway. I saw that dam on the left, had no idea that it was a recycled water reservoir, and it belonged to Vallecitos. In fact, I didn't even know for sure if it was a dam. I'm like, that sure looks like a dam, but what the heck are they damming up there? So, but then that's an interesting story, right, about our district, that people probably notice that, and we want them to go, oh, that's what that is. So.
Okay.
I see a lot of people walking around that in the morning too. You want me to call anybody when I see people, is it okay? Walking their dogs and?
There's trails back up there that belongs to the HOA.
Okay.
While we're on the subject, I mean, I don't know if you see a negative to it, but why wouldn't it be nice to have a nice monument sign in the front of that so people know what it is?
There is, but you gotta.
You don't want people to know.
There is, but we don't want people to know, because when you see dam, it means fish and boating and let's go swimming.
Okay, security.
Security, we just don't want people up there. You've already heard what they complain about, the
That's where
things
you-
that do happen.
That's where you'd want to use the
It's
reclaimed water
non-drinkable, right?
verbiage versus the
So you have a
recycled.
big sign up there.
Well, we're gonna put a sign down at South Lake that says caution, high levels of dihydrogen monoxide.
That's idea.
Well, see,
It's Ed's idea.
But I have to tell you, absolutely no one knows what that is.
Right.
Yeah,
But
but
if they
doesn't
see
matter, it
high
scares
levels
you
of it,
away.
they're not gonna go in there.
but how is that gonna work when we're gonna put the parking lot up
You
above
just
and
use
the
a full
trails down
level
below?
It doesn't.
It's easy.
Yeah. But at that point, the
Just goes
responsibility
alone.
becomes the city's, not mine.
Yeah.
All right, wait a minute.
Something to sell.
Well, the second sentence is there again, we're just talking about Vallecitos. The second bullet point isn't true. We don't use recycled water. So by maximizing.
Well, again, this is generic recycled water talk.
This is San Diego County.
This is San Diego County, yeah.
I understand.
So, but yeah, we've already got that point, we'll make it
But again,
Vallecitos centric.
there's a story to be told here with recycled water and what we do. Although we may not use it, there's a positive benefit to the environment. We are using the revenue that we do generate from it to offset the cost of actually doing it. And maybe, and I don't know if I ever got this clarified, but are we actually putting I know we're not making money, but are we generating more revenue than it costs to actually recycle it? So it's actually kind of helping offset some of the other general fund, if you will.
That
That's
offsets
revenue
the
neutral.
administrative costs.
So it's revenue neutral, but
Revenue
that's
neutral.
great, because that's still a great story, that it's revenue neutral, but there's such a great benefit to the environment by doing it, that, this water's
I
not
agree.
going out to the ocean. We should tell that story, it's a great story.
I agree with that, and I think showing, today we have water going to the ocean, and we're reclaiming some of it, and, the pressure in the future on the regulatory front is to halt all ocean discharges as a new water supply, and I think that's a big story.
Okay.
Director Renee.
And going even further, unless, I don't know how anybody would be presenting this, unless they said, okay, we're gonna read every word on here, as opposed to taking some of the information we've already had, plus, we've been doing this since 1987. A long period of time, we're not using potable water for these purposes, and putting them into bullet points, so then you could elaborate along the way about the rest of it. I mean,
There's way too much verbiage.
there's way too much, and that's kind of a consistent theme throughout the whole presentation. There's just a lot of dialogue here that if I were to be giving a presentation we'd be doctoring us
Now,
up. a
remember,
great
remember
deal.
you got new board members, old board members, some know the facts, some
And
don't.
I
But there's-
appreciate that,
so-
but. in the-
We'll cut down.
Well,
But can I also add, though, that you can put in notes
It's
into
just
these.
Exactly.
It goes down to the notes.
And they may be in there already, but you don't, you put a 2 or 3 sentence bullet point, then you have the details in the notes. And that way too, if you have smaller bullet points, you don't have all the verbiage, you can actually you can do another picture or
Right.
graphic or something.
And if you're the speaker, you're not just the reader. So, that
Sure.
would help to modify it based on personalities, presentation, group you're going to. So, what's been going through my mind that I just mentioned was, it just seems a lot of verbiage here.
Well,
Dr. Martin?
but going back to your point earlier, you're gonna pick and choose. You're not gonna take this whole presentation with you anywhere.
Yes.
Unless you got 2 hours and you're buying breakfast and lunch and paying them. So that's not gonna happen. So you're gonna pick and choose. If someone wants to talk about recycled water, you're gonna pick and choose everything that has to do with recycled, so you really want this to be there. So you can pick and choose it, but you might disallow it if you don't talk about anything else. So I think we're trying to cover everything in this, and then you pick and choose what fits your bill.
But,
Yeah, but if I can.
Go ahead.
So maybe, and I don't know where in the last 12, 14-month process, this got lost from us, but if we're gonna go present on recycled water, we're bringing somebody from staff. And if that's the topic, recycled water, then it's not gonna be us. I really was looking for more of a elevator type speech, 10 slides, here's the high-level overview of the district, here's some really cool stories about the district, our history, where did we come from, where are we at today, where are we going, that kind of just bam, here's a story. If we're gonna get into, 4 slides on recycled water and that level of detail, then, again, it's gonna.
I have that presentation.
But again,
No,
what
I know, but-
the intent was, it would be literally a chapter out of the presentation. If you wanted it, we give you those 7 slides and you go. So that's why this is just in one big thing, and if it doesn't work that way, we will pull it out into a separate module. It's just recycled, and we'll fine tune it. That was the intent.
Correct, Martin?
And I think that's what we asked for, was one size doesn't fit all. Specifically, Jim Hernandez came up with one that I thought was very good, but it didn't fit all of us. So this is one size fits all, pick and choose what you want to speak about, and don't. But that gives you, everyone the opportunity to do it, what they want to do, as their own board member, their own way, their own presentation. It gives you that option.
Yeah, we knew we weren't gonna come up with something here that fit all 5 of you.
Right.
Right.
We're not all gonna agree.
We weren't even trying to do that.
Yeah.
Wasn't gonna happen.
I haven't seen a picture of 5 guys.
Well, Craig wasn't even here when we started, so he definitely couldn't have been on
girl.
5 of us.
So don't say anything.
I'm bringing that one.
You have to go through it.
Okay.
Just a quick
Craig
question.
hasn't seen
Yes,
it.
Dr. Evans.
This is a silly question, but maximizing the use of recycled water reduces our dependence. Is it dependence or dependency? One of them you have dependency, and this one says dependence, and it just sort of, I guess, being a teacher, I'm just thinking, which one should it really be?
Depends.
It depends. Depends on how you read it, I guess. Reduces our dependency.
We'll check it. We'll do it.
I'm just,
We'll look for consistency.
and you've had it both ways,
Yeah.
so I just
Commercial style.
stuck out my face there.
Could be just
Sorry.
depends.
Okay.
The last thing I'm gonna say is, expensive imported water, is there another kind?
It's clean.
I mean, no, is it inexpensive? Is there,
Where did we have that?
our water
What do we-
costs what our water costs. I mean, there's no,
Not yet.
we're not
That's not the most
we're not buying
expensive
clear
stuff.
air. I don't know, it just seems
He
reasonable.
sells twice as
Where's that
So,
at? Is that in here?
I mean, it does have a value in and of itself that you don't have to
expensive
import
Expensive
more water.
imported water versus what other kind? Is it cheap water? Just an adjective for a name.
Back.
Could you explain to me what a commodity means?
It's the actual product.
So that means
Versus
water,
the
not just a
infrastructure.
product?
Yeah.
Okay.
just a thought, I don't really care. But 24/7, shouldn't it say 365 after it?
I like that.
24/7 except for Sundays?
In one place you did have that, I don't know,
That would just seem to be more up to date, maybe that's what we say.
But some years have more days than others.
Well, that they were.
And we have a day off.
We close that day.
Okay, thank you. I didn't remember
Every
that.
4 years, we take that one day. Dennis plays
one day.
golf.
Okay, cool, that works.
Leap year.
365.25.
There, thank you. But isn't it like .2555?
We'll put the sign out there.
Twice?
yes, so why isn't water not just a commodity? I don't know how,
Yeah,
I don't see the
either.
answer to that.
I'm trying to, I'm sitting here, I'm just racking my brain,
Quality service, the 24 round the clock monitoring, making sure it's always available. I think that's what they're getting at.
But maybe it should just say what you get for your money,
yeah, or
I think it is a commodity.
real value.
or,
Well, it is a commodity, but it's not like you run down the store and buy your different things. It's something, when you buy water from us, the intent, what we're saying, it's not just you're paying for a quantity, you're getting this for it. I think that's all we're trying to
You
say.
got customer service, you got people
There's
that
a lot
come
that
out
goes
and
behind
check
that.
for leaks.
It's
Maybe
not just
say
a
it's
gallon of water.
Maybe say it's a unique commodity.
I like that.
And unique commodity.
oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
You get a lot for it. Okay.
I'm so glad you're vice
And-
president.
That wasn't,
That's amazing.
Maybe, again,
I like that.
reword the, what you get for your money with something to do with, reflecting value, or, I don't know, just,
Well, it's a value, not a dollar amount, about what we're trying to say. There's a huge value to this that's
Mhm.
not monetary.
I would say, not here particularly, but using less than a penny per gallon wherever possible is a keynote for anyone to talk about.
Yeah.
Because people relate to that.
Yeah, because if you looked at the price of, bottled water in comparison to the water that you get, it's a huge difference. It really is.
Yeah. Less than a penny a gallon, I think, is a touchstone type of thing.
Director Hernandez.
In this particular case, what I've seen in some of the San Diego County Water Authority, they have both slides at the same time.
Side by side.
So you, side by side, so you can see the dramatic difference.
Okay.
You like it that way?
I do.
I think it was that way before, and I thought it was
Yeah.
too small.
I was gonna say, it depends on the size of the screen you're showing. in
Yeah,
front of your
yeah.
audience.
I can change that, but I did that because I thought it was too small.
Yeah. Whatever.
It
We'll
seemed
try
like
it
it
and
was
see what it
just,
looks like.
Whatever,
We'll see what it
yeah.
looks like.
Okay.
or I can set up Director Hernandez's side by
Well,
side.
and let me ask a question for clarity. Dennis, you and I have talked about it before, but explain to me again why OMWD is not the same as getting it from net.
Okay, keep in mind, we buy water in, we're bringing water from IID. Okay, water from IID is coming into south end of the county, that's not met. That's Imperial Valley and pre-Coachella Valley water rights before met. They get the water right first. So we have an IID transfer that lets us get water from the Colorado River.
When you
That
say
water,
that, you're saying San Diego County Water.
that's coming directly to the San Diego County Water Authority, goes into San Vicente and that area down there. The benefit of a Leeuwenhoek is they move the water from down there into the Leeuwenhoek Dam, which is a raw water supply, and then we're buying the water from Leeuwenhoek treated. So it's just a source coming from a different area. It's not coming from that.
Diversified source point.
Versus a different source point, but it's still Colorado River water. We're just not buying it from Met. So what we have is a local treatment plant that if the Colorado aqueduct is down, not the Colorado aqueduct, if Met's aqueducts are down, we're getting water from a different raw water storage in a raw water supply. It's not new water. It's not new water like the ocean. This is still Colorado River and blah, blah, blah. It's just coming from somebody else.
All right, it doesn't go through Met at all.
No, it doesn't come
Well,
through Met at all.
physically it does.
Well, physically it doesn't, but they use part of the All-American Canal, which is part of the Central Valley system. That's Central Valley, Imperial system.
So is there a wheeling charge for that?
Well, it's the basis of the lawsuit.
Yeah, it's the basis of the lawsuit was that they're charging us this money, and that's what we're going through right now, fighting on how they're charging state water project costs
Okay.
on a pipe that's down here, that doesn't even touch that water. So it's, again, it's, when you look at the water authorities, they're not calling it new supply, it's diversification on ability to get water during different scenarios. That's what it's all about.
Okay, the 18% this is showing, my understanding, limited as it may be, was that most of their water is going into San Alejo.
Correct. The southern end of the district.
Yeah, and not much outside of that from what I saw on the maps that we were showing. So is that 20% of our population?
Big chunk of the demand,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a huge demand back there.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be part of the Coronado Hills area too, that whole south, but it's the whole south side.
Okay.
What we're trying to do is minimize how much water we've got to pump from South Lake up and over the mountain. Because pumping it to the high point and then just breaking pressure and bringing it right back down to a lower pressure zone is just stupid. It's just a waste of power. Yeah.
Thank you.
And here's what we just talked about. The bottom one's San Vicente, which is where the water goes, and the top one's obviously the desal.
Is that exclusively where they get their water from, the San Vicente Dam?
What's that?
Oliva?
No, they get from the raw water connections as well. But remember, the water authority owns Olivenhang Dam now. Olivenhang no longer owns Olivenhang Dam.
Oh,
They sold it to them. So that's actually a water authority dam.
okay.
Which is
so
part of the
it's county
state.
water authority now, okay, so some of
Yeah.
that water is coming from Met,
Theoretically, yes.
not reality?
No, because there's actually no way for the water to get out of the California aqueduct into Hodges. There's no connection
Yeah.
from the aqueduct system into Hodges.
So where
That's
does
why
the-
they built the Olivenhang pump back system. They get water up to the top one and then they move it back and forth. That's how they can now get imported water into Hodges. Hodges has always been only runoff and rainfall.
Right.
Yeah, it's never been, there is no direct connection into Hodges off of the aqueduct.
Interesting.
Maybe get an updated picture now that the
Yeah,
plant's
we'll
open.
get that data picture.
And I would suggest that you put a label under both of these.
Yeah.
Sure.
I can't, I really thought about it, and I thought, well, maybe it's obvious, but maybe not. That's an easy change.
Yeah.
Needs a
That one I
label.
was
New
going,
picture,
okay, I'm gonna let them,
But new
I'm gonna
pictures-
let the
new
speaker
pictures
talk
on
to
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to do
the
the
same
same
thing.
Label would be good.
Okay.
Still over 30%, so I don't have to change that.
And 10.4 last week.
Yeah.
10.4?
It's impossible to get 30% conservation when you're already into a wet month where you're already saving.
There is no,
Mhm.
there is no irrigation.
There's no irrigation to
go.
cut back, yet you still have to cut back 30%.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
We'll
You know, I
figure it
heard it.
out.
You have to rely on the earlier savings.
Yeah, so it's
Absolutely.
cumulative.
It's cumulative.
Yeah.
You don't have to meet it every month.
That's the main power.
That's the first one, now here's the next 20.
Yeah, okay, ready?
Yeah.
Water module 1. Do we need a break?
Okay. Does anybody else need a break?
Okay, it's
Sure.
probably a great idea.
5 minutes.
Okay, Chris, thank you for the break.
So this is the next one, this one is the value of water module, so just kind of several slides in this one. This first one here, obviously, with the Roman aqueducts.
It's in the south end of the district. yeah.
Director Evans.
I like the title, Water Value Goes Beyond the Tap. I think that's right to the point. I do not necessarily think many people think of water as a commodity, as
Entitlement.
maybe an entitlement would be a better word, but I just think we could just forget that. I think that's,
I think we've come to the conclusion that we don't like the word commodity. I think I've heard that.
well, it's just, I don't know, I think people know what,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
meanings
it's
to that.
okay.
Water required.
It's good feedback.
Yeah, that was good. Just didn't want to require.
Just, there you go.
Going once, twice?
Many people think of water as water,
As wet stuff.
as wet stuff. Okay.
Director Martin, less than a penny.
There's the comparison that you guys like, that it's a visual thing that's easy to compare it to. And to be honest, some of these modules, we're gonna end up developing over the next year probably as this happens. We're just gonna have specific modules that you're just gonna take with you.
Not be much. Yeah.
Now, this
Point zero
graphic,
zero two is old.
that graphic is something I think we should showcase at street fairs and other things on a poster board.
0.005.
Some of the costs need to be updated.
You
Yeah, we got-
You gotta update the cost.
The costs are an ongoing update too.
0.005 and
Yes.
And I don't know about wine. I'm used to $2 Chuck when I.
I was wondering who was
Cheap
gonna,
guy.
I was wondering who was gonna make that.
Thunderbird.
Yeah.
That's
I-
for, it's
$45.
I love
Thunderbird
Thunderbird
for
It's way
personally,
above
Randy
my price
2020.
point.
Right.
Remember, it's a gallon, it's not,
But I'm not gonna
not
pay
750 milliliters.
It's a screw top gallon.
Yeah.
The big bottles.
In our vicinity, do a lot of people pay $16 for coffee, really?
For
a
the
gallon.
gallon.
A gallon.
Yeah.
Oh, by a gallon, of course,
Yeah.
duh.
Yeah, I
Right.
thought tap water was a penny.
It's
Less than-
0.005 right now.
How much?
0.005. Half a
Half a
penny.
penny.
0.05.
Half
Gotta
a penny.
update that.
We just say less than a penny because some people are in a higher tier,
Right.
it's a little more.
I understand.
Or sometimes you wanna put the fixed cost in too, divide it up and include a fixed.
Well, look at, there's that 24/7, 365.
There you go,
You
see?
know? Just gotta wait for the right slide.
I know, it'll show up.
That's where I said.
Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff.
The
He was
one
here
who's
the other day.
retired, right?
Is it just me, maybe it is just me, but under where we have employees, can we put their name?
I don't think that would be a good thing to be putting our employees' names in presentations.
I don't know.
However, Director
People
Martin,
certainly
have.
I do that, I go, Cliff. When I'm standing there talking, Cliff. It makes it personal.
Oh, yeah, I
But you're
have to
not
remember
telling their
Cliff.
whole name.
You got it,
Mhm.
All right.
I make up names.
Yeah, it's gonna say make up anything.
you know?
That's Bob.
It'd be gender correct, and that's about all you gotta worry
That's
about.
Mr. Bob.
Energy products.
On this one, I just have it's a word thing again. The last sentence, it says, "It takes lots of energy to pump, clean, and deliver." I think it would make a better point if it just says it takes a lot. Lot sounds
Yeah.
slangy to me.
Yeah.
It takes a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Significant. Significant. Oh, okay.
You know,
Director Elder.
yeah, back on the cost pressures. I mean, there's other cost pressures that are
Mhm.
not insignificant, like labor, materials, general CPI type pressures.
Aging infrastructure, maintenance of aging. Oh,
I don't know if the intent was just to try to capture the couple major ones, but, I mean, all, in total, it's major for the rest of them.
Yeah.
And
Is it be the next slide?
Director Martin.
would there be a priority rating, for instance? Is increasingly stringent drinking water regulations really more expensive than the rising cost of energy?
Or labor, I mean. I
Well,
think-
it's not us, it's the labor, the industry as a whole, with new stuff they have to test. The cost of the power is actually held pretty constant for many years now, give or take, because everything's gone up with it. But
Acceleration's
the
good.
acceleration is fairly constant, but the increasing, you gotta take out more and more things that they're requiring us to take out, then you've got what they call a constituents of emerging concern. Constituents of emerging concern, and there's a list of 50 things that the health department has to put out. I might be wrong, 25 new things every year.
That will eventually
That will
happen.
eventually become a regulation that we have to take out by law. So that cost of treatment, because that relates then to expanding the treatment plant, adding new treatment process, adding new monitoring
Switching
equipment,
out
switching
meters.
out improvements. It's a huge cost.
Now, from just a presentation standpoint, could we have something that says cost pressures and then just almost like check marks? You could have cost of electricity, replacing infrastructure,
Okay.
labor-related costs, and you can get into the cost of medical
Again, just
insurance.
you want bullet points.
Yeah, just boom,
Bullet
boom,
point,
all on one
exactly, yeah.
slide, that way we,
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just,
Yeah, and I think everybody can kind of relate to that, the cost of labor is going up, and,
Because most businesses have these same types of cost pressures.
Probably someone doesn't know this, what's that picture of? Where?
My house.
Don't know.
Trench above my road.
Oh, that's just clip art from somewhere, it's not one of ours?
Oh, I don't know if it's one of ours. If it is, it's one of the big ones on Twin Oaks. It's the only place we have a pipe that size. We'll look for a more appropriate.
Oh, yeah, that was Billy Bob up there in the picture.
That's sewer, sorry.
Hey, drought. That's gonna have to get updated, isn't it?
yeah.
They're getting slammed up in Washington.
Mhm.
Bad.
Yeah.
This is already kind of, going around in the next year, so.
Mhm.
Yep.
And this would be an ongoing
But,
moving
but
presentation.
this is good with the, bad spots.
snowing up there right now,
I know.
That's what I was gonna say. I think
It's
they're getting rid of it.
So it might not be good by the time January first comes in.
If nothing else, it shows that, hey, it was low in 15.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to show as a trend. That's why you'll always have a historical trend. Here's what's happened. Because technically, I mean, we're in the 14th year of a drought.
Yeah, there's
Right.
one wet year, right?
Yeah, we're 14 years into it.
And then just took one good winter to bring it back 100%, give us our 7.4 million back, and we're good.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's any 2 days, right?
Yep,
Okay.
you want that? That's a good one to communicate, though, and
Yeah.
it's not necessarily,
Yeah, I had
sometimes you go, do I need to put that on the slide, or can I talk to that point?
Yeah, I was at a Christmas party last weekend, and somebody was arguing with me about what 2 days it is. I was trying to explain to them, any 2 days, but it's Mondays and Wednesdays. I'm like, maybe in some other district.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
Sounds like a wild party.
Yeah, it was a crazy party. Director Lockhart.
Yeah, should that say no more than 8 minutes per watering station or per station? I mean,
That's true, that's a
It
good
might
point.
imply that it's total
Yeah.
to some people.
Yeah, that's good.
I thought it
8 minutes per
was.
station.
Well, you may recall, Michael, he was saying that it said 2 unassigned days, but he says, but you guys don't determine which days they're assigned to. Well,
It was
why don't you call that
undesignated, and he
assigned?
didn't like it.
Right.
Didn't like that.
Don't really have to do this one.
Dr. Martin.
Now, one thing, I'm just saying this. By not specifying the 2 days, you're opening up for scofflaws not to care, versus when you have a Tuesday or Thursday. I'm not saying we should do it, that you're really serious about, because the watering on those days, they get a fine, when you get really serious.
Unless if we hadn't seen the conversation,
Conservation.
conservation that we saw, the drought patrols would have been doing that to track in the 2 days,
Yeah.
but as it was, we got good enough, so we let it
Yeah.
go.
Well, you'd have to, you wouldn't want all your demands
No,
in
you-
No.
2 days.
No.
You'd
Well,
have to-
it wasn't even that, even the member agencies in San Diego, we were having to pick between north, south, east county.
Oh, I
So that we all didn't say Monday and Wednesday, and the water authority's demands peaked 5 times.
Yeah, just like on a retail basis, you wouldn't want
Exactly.
that either.
Exactly.
Odd number,
Yeah.
an even number.
So, yeah, like, we're not doing the drought patrols right now, so I don't need this slide.
Maybe, instead of saying drought help, can we say resources for customers, or,
Drought resources.
I don't know, just kind of nitpicking, but.
Utility bill.
Oh, before we go on to that, I thought, no, that's
Actually-
I think somewhere in there, we should place, that this is the new normal. I think we need to continue this theme that even if we have a wet year this year, we're not gonna be out of this thing, and we can just go back and start planting grass again. We identified this is
Yeah.
kind of the range of what's been happening, now it's changed, and the change is for some time to come.
There's a slide that says that somewhere.
Yeah, it's about 3 back, we'll just clarify.
Permanent.
It's
This is
permanent.
the new norm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it said we have to continue, gotta keep it up, this is the new norm, but we'll look to
All right.
clarify that. You know, we've got this one, but you're actually getting this on the 6th to talk
Oh,
about the
okay.
water bill.
Well, we not do
So
this one?
what we're talking about here may change anyway. So
All right.
if you don't mind, we'll skip this one.
Perfect.
Yeah, because I might need to modify it.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure you're going to, yeah. But we'll be doing that on the 6th with the board.
January?
Yeah. 2017.
Okay, so this is the posters that could go out and be used in a community group or at a booth at a fair.
So, you know, this is a morph of the graphic that you liked earlier, yet on the left, it's just facts about the district.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just don't, and I might be the only one, but I just don't see the point of giving out, you know, data, like this kind of data as to, you know, who doesn't know who we are.
Data on the right.
Yeah, the data on the right.
Yeah.
I mean, I kinda like the idea of the Facebook stuff, with 59% of our customers use Facebook for their news source, and that's kind of that's an interesting factoid, if you will, but, but we gotta relate that back, that, you know, did you know that we, you know, again, we should have a tremendous amount of data since Chris has come on board. I mean, he's done a phenomenal job with our social media piece that,
Lisa,
okay, Lisa, and Chris,
I just need to give credit where it's due.
okay, well, the department, and, you know, I gotta imagine from the time that you and Lisa started that, to today, yeah, I mean, that should be in here, like, you know, if we're gonna tell them 60% of our customers get this, get their, you know, information from social media, let's show them what we've done to respond to it.
Yeah, yeah.
And in responding to that, we, you know, focused more on it, and guess what? Boom, look at this. That's, I mean, we're missing a story. We're not telling a story here, it's a data dump. It's a bunch of information, but we're missing an opportunity.
And, sorry.
Let's start on the left. Did you guys all raise your
No,
hands?
just,
Okay,
no,
Director Ellis.
they were all ahead of me.
Yeah, for the stuff on the left-hand side, I think I said the comment earlier, but you've got the mission as water and wastewater specialist, but nothing underneath on wastewater.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
So I think that needs to be expanded.
Good.
And
Yeah, you
then,
made it.
and
Okay,
then
there
there's
is.
there's actually a mistake, 15,300 acre feet, annual water demand's only 5 billion gallons, you're off by a factor of 10.
Factor of 10.
Okay. Director Martin?
I was just gonna concur with you, I like the information on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, I don't think anyone cares, and maybe that's where you can put in, everything we do on the other side.
The wastewater stuff?
Yeah.
What?
Director Hernandez?
But I thought we had talked about creating a slide similar to this, but take out the data and put in pump stations, pipelines,
Yeah,
reservoirs.
that'd be cool.
And then it
That
would
would be cool.
relate more specifically to the left-hand side.
To who we are.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't wanna tell who we are.
Yeah.
If you remember, I may still have a photo of it somewhere, but the Port of San Diego, for those of us that were at the EDC meeting, they had kind of a, I don't know if it was a, kind of a drawing or map like this, but, 2 billion bananas per year, X amount of cars that came into the port per year. It was details, it was set up it looked just like this, but it was specific to, what comes in the port, how many jobs are created from the port activity, and what the overall economic impact of the region is, all those types of things.
Right.
Not necessarily that, it wasn't statistics that were from the poll.
Right.
So how we capture that, but I think that would be a neat thing to have.
I think so too, I like that thought. And we got a thing on doing infographics, so. keep it on there.
But I also like, there's that responsiveness piece of it too. I like the idea to say that, we did talk to our customers, we did learn that they're using social media more and more. That's not a big surprise to anybody these days, right? And that as a result, we've done this, let's tell that story to people.
That's kind of why we had it, is that you as the board has said, okay, do a survey, find out where we failed, find out where we've done good or done well, and that's why, 42% of you didn't know it, that's why we're out doing this. That's the concept behind it, it wasn't to put up bad numbers, I'm not afraid to put any number out there. The intent was, okay, we found these areas, we need to improve these areas, that's why we left them there.
Right.
It was for you to be able to say, we did this, we're responding to it, we're trying to fix it. And when the next survey comes out in 5 years, we'll see what the number says. That was kind of the intent.
I think you've had a bunch of great suggestions already, and I was going to say, this is one type of graphic I do think people like to look at. Like Mike had said, it's sort of the, do you know, or isn't that interesting? And I think that's our district, right, the shape of our district?
Mhm.
So
That
I'm
is the
thinking,
district.
that could be an interesting thing that could be used one time, how the media, how we reach our community, and another time it could be information about the drought, or it could be we could use this, but we could change the facts on it at
Yes.
different times.
Yes.
And I think that's got a nice draw to it, but I also do agree, not that it was necessarily a horrible thing to let people know 42% didn't know or whatever, but a lot of the purpose of a poll is for us to learn. And it's right, then we just need to select how we want to use it, so, but I like the graphic itself,
Me too.
rather
Yeah.
than just words, so if we could use that some way consistently, I think it would be something people go, what's on it, especially if we can make it look a little,
Right.
Yeah, and that's our
Well, and
intent, is to
there's-
have consistent
yeah,
appearance through.
I like
There
that.
may be things that are really good to just kind of keep on here, but then other ones where it's like, let's switch out that fact for something else, like, put in that we have, 19 reservoirs or tanks, you know what I mean?
And
just
show
kind
where
of-
they are, or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Director Martin?
I have just a question, I don't know. I found it interesting how much water we store during an average day, and how long that can get us through for. For instance, if we store 100 million gallons,
10 days, 9 days.
yeah, in our 19 reservoirs, we store enough water, for 10 days worth, or for 5, whatever it happens to be. But interesting fact is how much, what do we have those tanks for? People don't, they don't relate to the person that doesn't know anything, which is the majority of our customers, don't know anything about water. just like I did 3 years ago.
That's a good point.
Yeah, maybe it can be tied into the overall concept of importing water from big distances, and that we have that storage in case,
Well, benefits, shutdowns.
in case
yeah,
that's
yeah,
either by
earthquake.
earthquake or by system shutdowns, we have to get through those time periods.
Right. Because not many people will remember in town the days when they used to tell us, the water district used to tell us, there's gonna be a water shutdown, please cut down your usage, please. You don't hear that anymore, because they built the
Because we
storage
built-
for
because
us.
we
But,
built
but there aren't many people, seeing the average lifetime is 8 years that somebody's been here, which nobody cares, but that could be a factor that someone cares about.
A lot of people also, another good story to tell is that the reason why the towers are elevated, right? Because we pump the water when we have electricity, but should we lose it, we can still provide the service because it's all gravity fed. And again, it's just, those are interesting, valuable pieces of information people don't think about because, again, we get back to, oh, I turn the tap on, the water comes out, I'm happy. But they don't, this is a way to explain to them everything that, all the thought and work that goes into making sure that that happens at the end of the tap.
An
It's recognized.
unrelated question completely that just popped in my head when you were talking about that. Why are the water tanks in the Midwest and such, these big orbs look like a golf ball on a tee?
They don't have hills.
They don't
They
have
don't have
hills,
hills.
yeah.
What's that?
They don't have
They don't
hills.
have
Flat hill to put it on.
Flat
Oh,
What?
there you
They're all,
go.
they're all right at 100 feet. That gives them
Thank you.
43 pounds. Yeah.
50 years, I keep wondering why.
You want to actually.
And I mean, yeah,
When you fly into Houston or Dallas.
Yeah.
Whenever you fly in, just look out the window, and see how many of those things you can count.
well, I know in
Just come
Detroit,
in.
same
They
thing.
are
and-
Just going into LA.
Yeah.
Oh, even LA
There's
used
a
to
lot
see,
in
but
LA
yeah, they just don't have hills.
Yeah.
Ah,
We're lucky we have hills.
there we go.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
We
I
find the
grew
top
up, I
of the
grew up
heights.
on Long Island, and every city had their own with their name.
With their
on it.
name
Oh,
on
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And then, you know,
I
there's
grew up there during your senior year.
Yeah.
with your-
paint on it.
Right, yeah.
Some call it hot and cold, others,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you,
Country song
thank
I'm
you.
gonna send you about that.
God bless
Is
it.
there? Yeah.
Yeah, they're all right at 100 feet and just 43 pounds.
Now,
Hmm.
This is what you were talking about earlier,
Yes.
Jim, side by
Mhm.
side.
Well, that's really hard to read from here. I can't read any of that, except the green line at the top.
Well, this would be printed on a really big poster board.
Yeah, this is a poster.
Oh, it's a
board
poster.
presentation.
You can
Okay,
make those
that's
pies
true.
And-
bigger, too.
and you
You
could
can make it
increase
bigger.
the.
We'll make it- we can make the pies
increase the
bigger.
font-
The font's bigger.
The
Yeah.
font
I
point here, so
forgot
you
it was
could read it on the
posted.
slide,
Take your time
but
out of
it is small.
Yeah. You've all seen this
Similar
one.
in one of the slides, right?
Mhm.
I feel like most of the feedback was on that first slide, that first poster.
Yeah.
And communication plan, I don't know if you wanna read this one.
That was one of the first things we got you way back when. Yeah, everybody actually got our feedback on that a long time ago and we incorporated it.
30-odd pages. And then more recently, Joe passed along an updated communication plan. It's got all the appendices in it, so it's got a lot of the pieces and parts and updates that the board had asked them to correct and modify and so forth. So it's kind of got all the pieces and parts that were in the various.
It's what you just saw.
documents You've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, we picked on the font and everything else.
And those are the documents.
thank you, Chris. Before we depart, is there any other final comments, thoughts, direction anybody want to give? Director Martin?
I have a couple of questions. Out of curiosity. Is there a reason why Mrs. Katz isn't here?
When we got notification that we were gonna have the meeting, you mean Patsy Tennyson, I imagine, right? I was able to get Joe, and Patsy was traveling abroad, as I recall, yeah.
Just wasn't available. We originally agreed to do this in October of 2014. And here it is December.
Well, let's If I might, we first got the, talking about it with the board, we went to the interview process October, November. The contract was awarded December, and then we started in January.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's in January.
Yeah.
Do we have a time frame that we even thought about? back
September,
then?
September.
September?
I,
That is my question.
I would like, excuse me. Thank you. I would like to say, although it's taken a long time, I think there's been a lot of interruptions and confusion and changes that occurred in the process. But I'm very impressed. I really like the simplicity and the consistency of this. I like things spelled out, but I'm hoping that we will go to a lot more bullet points because most people don't, you know. I want to say thank you for this meeting. I didn't think it would be as productive necessarily, but I think it's been wonderful and it's nice to feel part of it. And I would like to say thanks to Cats, whether they did it timely or not, I think they did a fine job in the end. So, thank you.
Any other comments? And I'll just close just to kind of reiterate for some takeaways is you can really focus on kind of using some more graphics, kind of some modernizing the look of it, the feel of it, and then to the extent that you can, relate it back to Vallecitos as much as possible and try to tell, you know, our story. So, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, to kind of piggyback on Director Martin, I am disappointed how long this has taken. I don't think we're that close, to be honest, with an end product. I think we're closer today than we were when we started, but that was a tremendous amount of feedback. So hopefully we can expedite this. Hopefully we're not talking about this in, you know, the summer of next year.
Sure.
But thank you for everybody who's been involved and for your efforts, and looking forward to seeing the next round. With that, do we have to go to other business, or?
No, I used adjourn. I think we're done.
Okay. Oh, we do have, so is there any other business? Director Martin?
I have one thing. I went on
Thank
the
you, Chris.
internet the other day after I asked the question to find out the answer, and I do have that answer. Because of our Mediterranean-type climate, back in the day, I don't know about today.
Is this what you asked on the way back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Back in the day, there was a particular type of oak that grew in this area called the holm, H-O-L-M oak, because of the Mediterranean, and it was called the holm oak, and it's kind of like holly. The leaves are kind of like holly. It has little buds. I don't know if I didn't get as far as they still have them anyhow. But in Spanish, holm oak is pronounced encina. And
Okay, that's where it
encina
came
from.
Okay, you know, and that makes more sense because when I was telling Tom, I started looking up, somebody died, one of the husbands of somebody in Encina died, and they planted an oak tree up the parking lot. And it was probably.
Yeah, Kevin Hardy showed that.
Did
to me
Kev, okay,
today. Yeah.
that's what that was then.
There is a city up in the northwest called Encina, but it has nothing to do with the tree. So they used to be here, now whether they're still here or not, I don't know, but I
Well,
will
we
find
planted
out
one
before
in
the next
Encina.
meeting.
Well, the
because
other thing I
I'd
didn't-
like to see one.
The other thing I didn't know is that I guess they're common in Spain, and they harvest.
So they brought them over.
Well, they harvest cork from them,
Really?
yeah.
We'll see if they grow here still. Well, obviously they do.
It's in
didn't see that.
botanical
See
garden?
if we can.
I'll bet you
Yeah, see if they still have
Could
it.
do the same.
And then, right before we adjourn, I do want to say that having this presentation in advance did help make this, I can't even imagine if we wouldn't have had it, because we would have been here until midnight. And I know that I'm not going to be here at the first meeting in January, and I'll reach out to you, Dennis, between now and then, but I think there was some consensus for our next workshop, which is on the master plan,
Mhm.
that we do something similar.
Yeah,
So,
we'll get it out as soon as we
if you can kind of give us an update on that timeline as well.
Yeah, as soon as we can get it out, we will.
I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I might add, we're asked to bring our calendars, do we have a date change for the second meeting in January?
That is correct, thank you.
So as long as everyone's here for it.
We figure some of you will probably be going up Wednesday. I won't be going up till Wednesday night
Yes.
or Thursday morning, but some of you, because they do have
I'll
some
be going
stuff
up
on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So whatever the
So
board's
I'm,
pleasures.
my thought would be the 18th.
The 18th works for me. Does it work for everybody else?
The 18th
The
is-
18th, no, it does not work for me, I got a planning commission.
18th of January?
Yeah, because 17th, isn't 17th the Martin Luther King or something?
That's a Sunday.
No,
'Cause it's
Monday,
usually on-
Monday is, that's why.
That's- yeah, no,
We
the-
won't have a planning
Oh.
commission.
I know, that's why, so they moved it
Is that
to
Marcus?
Tuesday, the 18th.
No.
No, Monday's the
Monday's the
18th.
That's Martin
Oh,
Luther King.
I'm,
Is that a holiday?
oh, I'm
Monday.
sorry.
It is, to some
I'm
people, I
sorry.
don't
I'm
know.
School.
Monday.
and some
Monday is the
federal, but
18th,
not
it's
federal.
Not
okay
us.
with me.
We're here.
It's okay,
Because I,
it's okay,
yeah,
it's okay.
Monday is okay.
It doesn't preclude you from
Planning
having a
commission
meeting
is
that
Tuesday.
day.
No, we don't, there's nothing we have on our calendar yet, so 18th is fine. Does that work?
Does that work for everybody?
What time?
Yep.
4 o'clock.
So that's just a regular.
It's just a
board
regular board
meeting.
meeting.
Oh, just move that,
Oh,
okay,
6
very good,
p.m.
yeah.
And we still have. the
Well,
one
we
on the
may
6th.
adjourn it and move it, or we may cancel it and call special. I'll figure that out. But it's just a board meeting. So the 18th at 4 o'clock.
18th, 4 o'clock.
Got it?
Okay, good meeting, guys.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good Christmas.
Yeah, have a nice
Oh, yeah.
one.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, happy birthday,
Thank you.
Jim, 69.
You betcha.